the Picks and Response podcast.
Hey Nathan,
Hey Paul,
guess what time it is?
it's Pixel Response time.
Actually, it is 7:37 our time.
Oh, okay. I thought
And
that
it's
was
Tuesday. We're being late. Whoops.
Rejection.
That worked out really well. That's actually a voicemail for later.
Oh, okay. It is. Yeah, it's Tuesday because yesterday. What happened at work or something? No.
You worked.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
I did work, and then I got home late, and I was like, I'm too tired to do that. I'm gonna go to
That's
sleep.
totally understandable. I do not like doing anything after work, but
Yeah,
it happens.
especially anything like serious. Like it's like I can eat this, pasta and lie down. Like I could probably take care of that.
Sure.
But not anything serious. Yeah, I would be bad mood for it. But yeah, today was different. Today was a day off. Today was spent indoors all day playing video games.
Yeah.
So I can report on some of that stuff at some point.
I spent yesterday doing that.
Pretty fun, right? Just kicking it like
it depends
12.
what game you're playing, but yeah.
Actually, yeah. I mean, I could have been playing better video games probably, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like we acquired a bunch of games via this kind of weird Canadian exclusive sale thing that happened.
Yeah.
So we have games around that aren't, things.
Want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Best Buy and Future Shop had a weird promotional weekend where they were giving away Assassin's Creed 4, Call of Duty Ghosts, and Battlefield 4 for just trading in anything, essentially.
Yeah.
So you could basically turn an old worthless game into a new future worthless game, but you get a little window of time where it's worth something. So if I beat it right now and trade it in right now, I can get like money.
Actually, if you got the Call of Duty or the Assassin's Creed,
yeah,
then it will always be worth something because for some reason those games are always kind of expensive for what they
Assassin's Creed I've seen like $10, $15 for previous iterations. So
that is way too much for Assassin's Creed.
No, I'm saying trade-in value you'll get like a nickel. Like I'm saying they're also worthless. You're wrong. Call of Duty also probably because it's a yearly thing. So I can't imagine the window on that is too big either. This is like before map packs came out though. So maybe it's worth something. So I had to finish that. I had to. And I guess I need to give like props to Brittany for going out all day to actually track down these games because I didn't think it would be that big a deal. But apparently it took like hours and hours in line to actually make this happen.
Jesus Christ.
I know. I didn't think that would happen. I thought it was just like, yeah, this was like on a like blog somewhere. Like it wasn't really widely publicized before it happened. So it'll probably be readily available, right? I mean, they obviously have warehouses and warehouses full of these games, right? But
Yeah.
I guess a bunch of assholes reserve the games. And
Can you do that?
But I guess somehow that didn't get. I guess a lot of word didn't get to the actual employees of this store around this deal until like it was already happening. So it's just like, hey, can I reserve Assassin's Creed 4 for tomorrow? I guess so. Yeah, okay. You're the 98th person today. I don't know what's going on. And then that's because this crazy sale was going on, and a bunch of managers didn't know how to cope with all of that. This is all secondhand. I didn't actually get to go because I was at work the whole time. But there was apparently a battle in the streets for all these games, and it was nuts.
Street battle.
Yeah, we ended up with all three of the said games, though. I ended up with Ghosts on Wii U because I have one of those. I'm one of a few.
Why the Wii U, out of curiosity?
Because it was the last game there at all.
Okay, sure.
So
Did you have to trade a Wii U game in order to get it?
No, it's basically any 360, PS3, Vita, or Wii U title qualifies. So we have a bunch of like old 360 titles lying around that we have great PC versions of now. So it's like, oh, well, we'll take out the garbage essentially and then come back with the new video games. Because, yeah, once you've seen Arkham City on a PC, you don't want that old one anymore. So get that out of here. It's trash. It's garbage. Blech. Vomit.
That was a dismissive sound.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, old games, as we've said before, like at some point they're just not worth anything. And for a little tiny bit of time, these are still worth something, so we might as well make that trade up. And then cash out, get Steam money, if they'll let us do that. That would be.
What did you trade in?
Arkham City.
Okay.
We have 2 copies of it here, or did, so that was extra easy to make happen.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I wasn't actually the one doing the trading, so I'm trying to think what else actually left. Saints Row 3, the 360 version.
Fair enough, yeah.
Oh, and we had 2 Arkham Asylum Game of the Year editions as well. So
you traded 2 Batman and a Saints Row.
Batman and Saints Row. Oh, and Just Cause 2, actually. So Just Cause 2, I think we still have Asylum, if that's the case.
Well, it's a good time, like, all the PlayStation Plus games that are free, you could probably just trade the disc copies in if you had those for people that did that, right? Like, I could have done Demon's Souls.
If you have a disc, yeah. It was any like, disc that would work. So actually, yeah, there was also weird trading happening in line for this, because it's just like, oh, you don't want to play this game anymore? Well, I'll trade you my next gen game that also works for this deal, so that, like, I'll have something I want and you have something that you can still use. So that was going on too. So we also ended up with Alice on 360. But that was just Brittany waiting in line making that happen. So yeah.
Oh, just like the person in front of you. It's like, fuck, I'll take that.
Yeah, it's like,
here, have this game.
City, which is still good for the trade-in, so you lost nothing, and I gained something I'm curious about. Sean did the same thing to get Sneak King, which is a classic advertainment game. I don't know.
Advertainment, yeah.
Advertainment. That's the wrong word, but whatever.
No, it works.
Yeah, it's a kind of a classic in a bad, terrible way. But, yep. Video game. So, yeah, Call of Duty Ghosts, I was playing that on Wii U. I don't know. It was just like, well, I need to finish this. I need to finish this campaign so that I can get rid of this.
And that took, like, what, 3 hours?
I used to do. I think it was longer than that. I'm going to say, like, 5.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe, like, the early goings, I was playing on normal difficulty, and eventually I was just like, fuck that. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, because there aren't achievements on the Wii U, so there's no reason to do that on that front. And I just want to walk through this roller coaster, essentially. Like, I don't want anything to hold me back, so I switched it to rookie mode, and then just watched everything explode for, like, 5 hours.
Yeah, I want to see the explosions.
There are so many explosions, and I don't know if it's just something I have never noticed with the Wii U. The rumble on the Wii U doesn't sound like it's good for it. Like, it sounds unhealthy. Like, it's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, it's like grumbling around. Like, it's just, I don't know. Considering how much rumbling is happening with that thing, it was just like, this sounds bad for it. I don't know. It sounds sick. It's like,
yeah, like it just ate a whole bunch of cheesecake or something, and now it's on the couch just like, rrr.
Yeah, something like that. It was not ideal. Yep. I finished that game, though. There's stuff in space. That game opens with stuff in space, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which kind of the reason I decided to actually boot it up instead of just trading it immediately, because I'm just like, well, that sounds really stupid. I should probably see that. And it's so stupid. Like, in ways that bothered me, because, like, you know, 0G gun battles, like, that's really dumb in terms of, like, real science. That could never happen that way. But for video games, that's nothing new. There's been games in space. Why not?
Yeah.
They
lasers.
They didn't totally commit to what I wanted to see from that. Because, okay, this is a very specific example, but in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, there's a part in that movie where dudes are getting shot in 0G on, like, a Klingon ship, and their blood is floating around in big bubbles of blood, because that's what would happen. Because there's liquid in space. We've all seen the Chris Hadfield videos of him eating and drinking juice and stuff. Yeah. It flows around awesomely in no gravity. Here, it was just splatting on walls like it was anything else, except we were, like, swimming through the air.
That's because the people that make Call of Duty games don't know how to make good physics games.
Well, like, the physics of, like, dudes' bodies floating around and like guns and stuff was fine, but they didn't bother making that apply to liquid, which kind of bummed me out because I'm just like, if you're gonna go this far, just go all the way and make it look crazy and awesome. But they just didn't. Which, I mean, there's underwater levels too in that game, and they obviously have like the kind of misty blood that happens when you get cut underwater. But they didn't kind of gin up their own effect for the space stuff, which kind of bummed me out. But man, that space stuff's so stupid. Like, you're just shooting machine guns in no gravity, like, and no air. Like, it's just like, what is igniting right now? How is this happening? Like, this doesn't work. But it's just like, no, whatever, man. These terrorists are using this space weapon, and you got to stop them. Yeah. And oh, okay. I know you kind of had mixed feelings on Stanley Parable, but
Did I?
Well, like you're like, ah, it's a little too clever for its own good or something. Like, it's a little not. It does the thing it's making fun of, which is kind of hypocritical. That's
Yeah, but
saying.
I mean, I still enjoyed it. I was just playing devil's advocate mostly.
Oh, okay.
But yes, it did. I mean, you can't deny that it did do that. It's like all the games that are like, I'm making fun of this thing, and now you have to do it though.
Yeah, I thought it was a little more clever about it because the point of it was trying to find ways to not do the thing. So,
Sure.
But then it would at least address you for doing other things. Whereas, like, I guess I just brought up Stanley Parable because, like, for me, it kind of showcases a bunch of like bad ways games typically tell stories, so I can kind of relate a Stanley Parable experience to problems I have with other games. I'm gonna give this a try.
Okay.
The Call of Duty games are the adventure line. I don't know if you saw the adventure line. It's one of the paths you can take in Stanley Parable, but
What do you have to do?
it's like in the adventure line section of Stanley Parable, it's literally just follow this yellow line and the game will happen. Like, just don't deviate. Call of Duty does that, and it doesn't tell you, though, obviously, because it's not having fun with it, but it's literally like, follow this guy. No, you fucked up. You didn't follow the guy. Game over. You're just like, okay, I was trying to have fun. Can I do that? No. Follow our guy, and then the stuff will explode, and you will have fun because the stuff's exploding. And you're just like, I mean, I like stuff exploding, but I'm kind of stoked that I'm in space right now. Can I float over here and look at this thing? No. You left the mission area. You failed. Like, it just does that over and over again. And I was like, oh, wow. I have not played one of these in a while, but this is gross. Like, it kind of makes that game seem small in a way. Like, the possibility space is very small. You can do one thing in that game, and that is shoot the guys the game tells you to shoot and do everything everyone tells you to do. Because, like, there was a point in that game where it's like, there was a bit of a story thing going on where, like, it's like, if you press this button, you could conceivably kill some characters. And I was like, oh, that's shitty. I'm not going to do that. So I just sat there, and then the screen goes gray, words come up on screen, you failed to follow orders. Game over. I was just like, it doesn't actually say game over, but it's like, you failed. You didn't listen to the guy, like the military guy who told you to do the thing. And I was like,
I'm going to go ahead and say at least you can fail. And we'll get into that more about the problems I'm having with Beyond Two Souls.
oh,
so
yeah, okay. I guess, but like, it's such a like, there's no punishment to the failure. It's just, you have to waste 10 seconds of your life and let it reload.
Which is the punishment. And it's not a punishment in the way that it should motivate you to want to do the part right. It's a punishment in that I have to do this so I can get this stupid piece of shit game over with.
Kind of, yeah, but man, it's like, there were times where I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, this is a decent action movie right now. Like, it's just like, this is a really weird train I'm on. Like, this is, you know, this whole oil rig is exploding and that's crazy. But it's so constrained that it just kind of felt like so, you know, you have no choice. You have no option to do anything other than what it's telling you. So it kind of doesn't feel that cool. Like, it's just kind of, you are basically walking along this line. Like, okay, the Wii U version has all the objectives listed in front of you at all times. That's basically all they use the second screen for.
Lame.
But, like,
okay.
When I was considering, like, oh, like, follow Melendez or something, I'm just like, or no, like, it would be kind of story-centric objectives. Like, it's like, you gotta retrieve this thing or you gotta find this guy. And I was like, really? The only objective that actually is happening is follow the guy. Like, follow the game. Just walk over here.
Follow the money.
Yeah, it's basically just walk the correct path. Just walk to the place. And then the cutscene will happen, or the guys will pop out that you shoot so you can keep walking. Like, it is just so narrow that it kind of makes all the stuff that used to impress me about that kind of game, like 4 years ago or whatever, when I was playing Modern Warfare 2, I was pretty into it. But now I kind of realize, like, it is so scripted to the point that it is kind of just redundant. Like, you just don't get to do anything. Like, you don't actually have any impact on anything in that game at all. Like, it's just like, do you want to play along? Do you want to see this happen? And it's just like, no, I kind of want to go over here. It won't allow for that. And that's kind of, I guess, how they can make one of these every year, because all they're doing is making a really detailed kind of amusement park path, and everything beyond that is probably just fake. Like, it's like, this looks like a city, but it's not. Like, there's just nothing over there. Don't even try to go over there. And they won't even let you find out that there's nothing over there for yourself. They'll just gray out and say you failed right away. So it's like, I have to start questioning, like, everything about what I'm seeing or being presented with. Like, it's just like, this probably isn't really that detailed of an oil rig, but this is the only path I can walk along on it. So I'm seeing all these animations that are custom and stuff exploding in this very specific way, but it's all a lie, man. I don't know. I was having a very compromised experience, like, the entire time. I saw all the dudes, though. I saw the story play out. There's brothers. There's a dog. Your dad is there.
The dog's name is Riley.
The dog's name is Riley, and at some point you need to protect him because he got hurt, and it's really sad.
Does he die?
Hurt. No, he doesn't.
Okay.
I thought he would at some point. Like, it seemed like that was where they were going, and they're just like, no, you saved him. Cutscene.
Well, that's the cheap way to invoke emotion, right? Is to kill an animal.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have been beyond them, but they didn't do that. And they totally set up for a sequel, like a Ghost sequel specifically. Not just yet another Call of Duty, but they kind of deliberately go like, we're going to probably do some stuff with this character. And you're just like, I don't know if I care that much, but okay. The world's getting toasted real bad by space lasers. Like, you know, bad stuff's happening on a large scale, but it was reminding me of just, like, dumb James Bond movies. Like, specifically that it's got so much stuff in space. I was just like, this is just Moonraker, which is one of the worst James Bond movies. And that is how far, like, Call of Duty has gone into the absurd nonsense. Like, it's just like, gun battle in space, I don't know. That's what we have left. There's a sky train. Like, it's just like, what world does this take place in anymore? Like, it's not quite sci-fi, but it's not current day at all anymore. And
how is the part where you play as a dog?
Dumb. Like, I mean, Dead to Rights did that. So this isn't even, like, the first time I've played as a dog, and you can't even bite the dude's balls in this one, so what's that?
Lame. That's so dumb.
Why isn't there a bite balls button? Like, seriously, guys. If you're going to play in this space, you got to top the best in the business, and that's Namco. And you did not do that. Whatever. You just, like, basically tap into, like, cameras that are on your dog, and then you can control him for a little bit, and you kind of stealth kill him. And that whole section, you're basically just crawling through, like, a path of grass that goes past a bunch of stuff. Like, you just stay in the grass and then bite a guy occasionally. There's not much the dog mechanics. Like, there's, like, parts where you're in a tank, parts where you're in a helicopter, but it all seems very limited in what you can actually accomplish. Like, it's just like, shoot the targets. Just shoot those targets right there. Okay, good. You did it. Now let's transition to our guys on the ground. Shoot those guys. All right, we're done here. Fade to black. A weird cutscene plays. Like, some of the cutscenes, like one in particular, I was kind of impressed by just how weird they went with, like, the visual style. Like, it's almost just, like, metaphorical, like, just, you know, like, crystals coming out of this dude and, like, weird smoky effects and all this stuff. But I'm going to immediately kind of counter that positive I just said, because they also have a fat loading bar on the screen every time you're watching a cutscene.
Great.
So it's just like, hey, we worked real hard on this cutscene, but you don't care about that because you're just watching this bar fill up, because that means you can play again. And I don't know why they chose to just have that bar there. Like, it's not a very big thing, but it's just right there on the screen, and it just seems like a weird thing. Like, it's just like, you know, if the game's loading, like, I understand that. I can watch this cutscene while it's doing that, and you don't need to kind of remind me of that. I don't know. It was a weird. I don't know what that choice was for. That seems strange. But yeah, I mean, I haven't played one of these in a while. It is a roller coaster full of explosions, and if you like those, this one seemed okay, I guess. Like, there's, some okay levels in there, I guess. Like, there's an underwater base and all this stuff, and you go to space. I have mentioned that a couple times. There's
Yeah.
a train. Like, action set pieces, they still came up with some of those. And
Well, they have to, right? That's literally the only thing that draws people in, because the gameplay has been the same forever.
The main thing that actually draws people in is the multiplayer, which I still have, like,
I don't understand that, but okay.
no interest in. But
Sure.
I'm told that is missing a bunch of modes people have become accustomed to, so people are kind of bummed out about that. So I guess kind of disappointing on that front. That is literally not at all what I have ever cared about from this series. So yeah, I played the campaign. I essentially got this game for free. So yeah, I guess, yeah, that's really when I would play this kind of game, was back when I worked in video stores, so I could rent stuff for free. So I'd still check out, like, games like this, where it's just like, I know this won't have enough in it to interest me long term, so I'm not going to pay $60 for it, but I'll check it out, because why not? I mean, everyone's talking about it, and it's like 5 hours, so I might as well see the thing. And yeah, I don't know, there's some cool slow motion explosions and, throwing knives and whatever. But it's very shallow. Like, it is a very shallow gameplay experience. Like, maybe on higher difficulties, there's more to it or something, like the mechanics, but it honestly seems like a lot of your gadgets and stuff you get, you can only use at, like, scripted times. Like, you saw Kick-Ass, right?
No, I haven't, ever.
You've never seen Kick-Ass?
Yes, of course I have. I've talked about it many times.
That wasn't actually...
For all our new listeners.
Okay.
You were clarifying it for them.
Film, yeah, I just wanted to reestablish that. Know the part in that movie where Hit Girl uses the strobe light?
Yeah.
There's a part in this game where you
Robin's
can do that.
Revenge.
Yeah, Robin's Revenge. You can switch to Robin's Revenge in Call of Duty Ghosts. And I was like, this is kind of cool. But you can literally only do that in that one room where it's dark. And that's the only time you ever get to use that in the whole game. It's just like, oh man, like, if there was actually, like, we have a suite of stealth mechanics, and sometimes you can use stuff like this, and you get to choose when you use it, that would be kind of a cool one to include, because it looked cool, like it looked like it does in the movie. It's like strobing, and the dudes are like, I don't know what's going on, and then you're shooting them in the dark, and it's kind of neat. But you only get to do that literally one time in one level, and then you move on to, like, switch to thermal vision or whatever. Like, they come up with a different thing you use later. And it's just like, oh man, like, there's some cool stuff in here, but it's not a mechanic. It's just kind of a gimmick. Like, it's just a thing. It's just an event that happens. And then they move to some other weapon. And I don't know, like, I guess I just kind of wish it let you choose what to do more. Like, there's always someone there with you telling you exactly what to do. And usually it's your big brother, which is extra strange. Like, it's just like, hey, Logan, get over here and do this thing. And you're just like, all right. I have to.
Like, yes, master.
Yes, yeah, all right, bro. Like, and you're a silent protagonist? Like, your family is always talking and kind of filling in stuff for you, but you never talk, which seems kind of weird. Like, have they always done that? Like, does
no.
Tavish talk?
Yeah, they all talk.
Yeah, so this seemed, like, weirdly regressive in that way, where there's, like, moments where people are talking to you, or, like, you know something, but it doesn't seem like you're sharing it with people, or how do they know, or whatever. I don't know. I'm not 100% clear if over the cutscenes the voice you hear is you or not.
Okay. So they did a bad job with the voice acting then, for sure.
Well, they're pretty indistinct dudes sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Military man talking. Like, I don't know who this is. Like, there's, like, a villain guy, and I wouldn't say his voice is very distinctive either, but you see his face when he's being a bad guy, whenever that's happening. So you kind of know what's going on. Very straightforward, everything explodes action game. I guess one brief kind of other point of comparison I just want to say, like, there's a mission in Grand Theft Auto 5 where you go underwater and do a bunch of like frogman stuff, and you're cutting through grates and sneaking into a secret base and all this stuff. Like kind of the same stuff you do in this game, but because that game exists in kind of this open world framework where it seems like the possibility space is greater, it seemed crazy to me that you were able to do that stuff in Grand Theft Auto 5, and I was really impressed by it. Like I was like, wow, this mission's crazy. Like this is amazing that you can actually do this in this game. And there's like submarines and all this stuff. Here it's like, well, this is all there is in this game. So the same exact sequence essentially where you cut open a grate and swim through a thing and there's sharks isn't exciting in the same way because it doesn't feel real. It's just kind of a sideshow. Like it's just window dressing. It's all window dressing. So yeah.
So Call of Duty is window dressing the game.
It's it's pretty empty in a lot of ways. I don't know, but I guess that's just the series. It's very scripted, very directed, and I don't know how you'd get too much enjoyment out of that campaign. Like that's kind of why the multiplayer is the thing people go to, right? Because it's the longer lasting component of that game. I'm sure you can prestige in it and all that stuff, but I don't want to do that. I don't really want to do that.
It sounds like even the people that love multiplayer don't want to do that because they have the other Call of Duty games to play for that.
I mean, this game is the first game to not make as much as the last year iteration, right? Like Black Ops 2 debuted a bit bigger. So
then what though? I don't think it did. Right, but it didn't debut bigger than the year before it, I don't think.
Yeah, it did. Black Ops 2 was still bigger.
Than Call of Duty 3? Modern Warfare 3?
Yeah, it's been going up, and this is the first one where it's started to tip a little bit down. I'm pretty sure that's fair to say.
Okay, well, either way, I don't fucking care, so...
I know. I'm just saying, like, this isn't, like, the beginning of the end or whatever, but this is definitely, like, it's started to plateau. Like, it's maybe this kind of very directed, straightforward military shooter thing is finally going to end. And, I mean... My choice of games right after I finished it was, do you want to play Battlefield 4 or Assassin's Creed 4? And it was kind of like, well, I don't want to just be a military man shooting stuff again, so sorry, Battlefield. I'm going to have to take a bit of a leave on that one. Like, again, I'd probably be mostly interested in the campaign because I'm playing on a console, and I know the big multiplayer experience you want from a Battlefield game does not exist on the console. So I'd play that on PC, ideally. So, you know, do I really want to, like, I swear, I'm thinking back to my time at E3, there was a moment in the E3 demo at, like, the EA presentation or whatever, where they were showing Battlefield 4's campaign or something, and there was a aircraft carrier tipping, and all the planes were falling off of it, and everyone was shooting, and it was crazy. There's a moment in Ghost that is literally that. Like, you're on a big ship, and then it gets hit, and then all the helicopters and stuff are tumbling, and there's, like, explosions and you're trying to run off the edge to jump onto a helicopter. And I was like, I don't want to do that exact thing again right now. I mean, sure, it's got a different engine and a different story, and it's all different in some ways, but I'm good. I'm going to be a pirate. I'm going to be a pirate, Paul.
I do want to play that pirate simulator game that they somehow wanted to name Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. That game's, like, I'm only a few hours in, but I'm already, like, really amused by their kind of storytelling device, like their kind of meta layer to the game, like the Out of Animus stuff is so self-aware, it's crazy. Like, it's like Abstergo Games in association with Ubisoft bringing you this game. So they're, like, crossing real-world stuff with their fiction world, and it's like you're testing the new game. It's really weird. Like, it's like Total Recall kind of stuff where it's like, go on a crazy pirate vacation. Come over here and test out our new thing. And it's like, all right. Like, they're almost self-aware now that is literally the part people want to do, is just play a dude in some weird historical era. And, like, there's talk of, like, they talk about the PlayStation Vita game, Liberation, in the game. And it's like, yeah, this was the first experiment. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's so weird to see them kind of pull back that far and just kind of start joking about themselves, essentially, but it's almost refreshing because at least it's lighter in tone. You know, like it's not super self-serious about its mythos. It's just kind of like it's a pirate. I don't know. Like there's literally a part in the game that I've played so far where like a game director guy who's like a French named dude, just like Ubisoft Montreal would have, turns to you and goes like, "Oh, the pirate one, yar!" And then it's just like, okay, like the game knows this is really
Can I
contrived.
ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want I want a game
Yep.
where I control a ship
Okay.
and I am sailing the seas
Mm-hmm.
and there's a little fishing boat or something and I decide to destroy it. And
You're a
because
pirate.
of it, another like police state or whatever you would call like an armada starts coming after me and I want to take them all out and I want to get to the point where I'm stuck in a cove on an island with a full fleet of the army just on the other side and I want to go down blazing. Can I do that in this video game?
I don't know if you can kind of open world system antagonize everybody and get that kind of thing going on. I'm not sure. Like I've done the briefest bit of sailing. I'm basically in the first port right now and I haven't left yet to go see what the sailing aspect of the game is. So I don't know yet. I cannot answer your question.
I literally just kind of want a pirate game.
Shoot cannons. Like so far the stuff I've been doing has been pretty Assassin's Creed type stuff. Like you're in Havana and you can go around and like climb up stuff and collect treasure chests. And I bought some new swords and fought some guys. I assassinated a couple people. So there was that. That's how I got a lot of my money. The combat, I mean, other than, you know, you losing some synchronization points or whatever the hell, like you can just fight guys, and the game just lets you like just like not gonna fail you out, unless you're doing like a tailing thing, which still kind of sucks. I guess that's kind of one of the weird things though. In the game, every single mission after you beat a mission, it's like rate this mission, and in the guise of the fiction, it's like give some feedback to Abstergo Games. But I'm guessing Ubisoft's actually looking at all this stuff, and I'm being pretty honest about it. Like the first mission was kind of generic, but it was okay, 3 out of 5. The second mission I really didn't like because it was really focused on all this stealth stuff, and if you get spotted, you just fail, 2 out of 5. So I'm like rating the game as I'm playing it, and kind of not liking some of the missions. I'll be honest, but just I don't know, the tone of just like running around and getting a bunch of gold and buying stuff is still there. And I do hope the stuff you're talking about, like where it's basically Sid Meier's Pirates, but you get to control the ship and, you know, drive around. I hope that's in there, but I don't know
People
yet.
say that it is.
Yeah, I'm sure you can like level up your ship and get crew. Like I did find a piece of a sea shanty, and it said you can, if you get enough of these, you can teach new songs to your crew. So at some point crew stuff factors in, and that would be cool. You know, so I hope the pirate game of all of our dreams exists in here, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm still kind of in the very early parts of the game. Yeah. More reports on that next time, I guess.
Fantastic. Actually,
Yep.
If you tell me that what I want, what we were just talking about, is in there, I will probably pay $50 or $60 for the game. Because
Okay.
that is something that doesn't happen, like, ever in a video game. Like, if it's open world enough where I can just do that for a while, I will have enough fun on my own that I don't need to care about Assassin's Creed. And that's fantastic. So if that exists, let me know, and I will probably just buy it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, the scripted story so far has been pretty one-sided. Like, it really seems to care more about your guy, Edwin, like the pirate guy, as opposed to, like, you are an unnamed, silent, first-person protagonist in the the outside of Animus Abstergo world. So, you're kind of just the player at that point, and I don't think that side has much story to it. Maybe you can kind of, you know, subvert Abstergo and kind of see behind the veil and see if they're a sinister company or something. I don't know if they'll go with any of that stuff, but right now it's really just focused on this guy's a pirate and he's kind of pretending to be an assassin to make more money and climb up the ranks or whatever. Like, you're kind of an imposter. You're not actually an assassin so far. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Like, you kill an assassin and then steal his outfit and get mistaken for an assassin, and you're just kind of rolling with it at this point. So you are a pirate first and foremost, and an assassin second, but in kind of name only. So yeah, pirates.
Keep
I'll
on
see.
rolling, baby. You know what
Yeah,
time it is.
yeah. I'll see where all this ends up going. Yeah. That. I mean, I also played a bunch of Arkham City this week. Just you played that, right? You finished it.
Yes, I have finished Arkham City.
Okay. Like, there's too much stuff in that game.
I agree. It's not what Asylum did well is that it was kind of just like Joker's funhouse of crazy villains that you love from the series, and you're just gonna kind of like go through this area, and there's an end goal and blah blah blah. City is like, this is way too open, and there's way too much stuff to do that my attention isn't focused, and there's no dramatic like motivation to actually do anything. I found where it's like, I don't know, Asylum very much felt like this is just like Hell Knight for Batman, and I want it to be over, so we got to keep pushing forward and get to the Joker. Whereas City is kind of like, well, I'm just going to kind of look at Riddler trophies maybe, or like swing around a bit, and there's this guy here, I guess. I mean, the Penguin's here, so maybe I should take care of that now. It just didn't feel like there was any reason.
For the most part, I felt the core story kind of made up for that, because like they obviously try to have it where it's like Batman's poisoned, like he's gonna die, so you need to do these story missions or else bad stuff's gonna happen. Like because the whole blood thing, right? Like Joker's blood is tainted and he taints Batman, so then you need to track down the cure. And I found that plot thread of like finding the cure pretty, I just kept rolling with the story missions for quite a while. But as soon as that part's over, it's just kind of like, it just kind of opens up again where it's just like, all right, do you want to go kind of stop Bane or something? It's just like, I guess. Okay. Do you want to stop Deadshot? It's like, I could, but I don't know. He's just kind of murdering people, but they're they're in this Arkham City. It's a crime-filled place. I don't know. I'm not that invested. And yeah, Riddler stuff everywhere. So I finished the story, and then I played like a bunch more stuff, and I'm still only at 44%. Like, there's 56% more things in.
Dude, 44% in that game means you've done a lot of shit, though.
I know. I've played like 14 hours of it, but there's still so much more. It's like, pop these balloons, do these AR training flying things.
Oh, I did all of those because I found those fun. So
yeah, like I don't hate some of this stuff, but like a lot of the stuff's just collecting things, right? Like the Riddler thing has gone overboard. Like it's just nuts how much stuff there is. And then like the prospect of like I didn't even finish this game and Arkham Origins is out. Like I don't know. I don't need more stuff to do right now.
You know what the great tragedy of it is too?
What?
Is that the Riddler trophies are the least fun thing to do, but when you collect certain amounts of them, you get these awesome things that are like little situations that are like Saw.
Yeah, I know.
Those are so good.
I did the first one of those, and it was like, this is cool Riddler content. Like, this is kind of neat. Why didn't you just make more of these and make them more accessible than, like, go collect trophies? I don't know. And some of them aren't even, like, fun to get. Like, it's just you blew open a wall and you climbed in there and got it. Or, okay, like, all the villains I fought and whatever, like, that was all satisfying and interesting. The most annoying, like, just weird, emasculating thing that happened in that game was Batman versus a plywood wall. I couldn't break it. It was like 4 feet up. I couldn't break it. None of my gadgets worked. I couldn't punch it, and there was like a Riddler trophy on the other side. So I was just like, do I not have a gadget I need or something? Do I need to level up something to blow up? Like I couldn't spray it. I set up a wire. So I was walking on the wire near the thing and trying to punch off the wire, and I couldn't do that. So it was just like 5 minutes of Batman totally failing to break this wall. And it was just like, this is so dumb. Like, this is weird right now that, he can waste 50 criminals and it doesn't even mean anything. But this wall is just totally, thwarting everything he can throw at it.
That wall, man.
Yeah, that wall sucks. It's near the police station. I had nothing to do. Like, I was just going there to report to Mr. Freeze that I found his wife, which was also very anticlimactic. It's just like, hey, bro, I found your wife. Oh, thanks, Batman. And that was it. and that's the end of that whole story.
That Mr. Freeze fight is awesome.
The Mr. Freeze fight was good. That was earlier. Like that. There's some pretty cool things that happen over the course of the main story arc.
The Bane fight, not so much.
No, the Bane stuff. There wasn't even really a fight, was there?
Or was that Asylum? I don't know. The one where he you have to make him run into shit.
That's in Asylum. There's a fight where you fight Bane in Asylum. In City, you kind of just blow up a bunch of canisters of Titan, and then he was trying to trick you to keep them, and then you lock them up and blow them up, and that, as far as I know, that's the end of that.
Right.
Like, maybe he breaks out or something, but I don't know. I guess there's like a Hush thing that I haven't seen, so I still kind of want to see some stuff in City, but it's really disheartening seeing that number go up so slowly. Like, it's like, all right, that was a pretty good, like, 3-hour session of Batman Arkham City. Let's see. All right, I went up 5%. Wow. Like, it's just like, you don't feel like you're accomplishing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I still like that game. Like, there's a lot of stuff in it that's still really cool. But, yeah, there's kind of, in that same way that kind of put me off Donkey Kong 64, where it's just like, we have 202 bananas now. It's just like, there's too many things. There's too many things to collect. Collecting the things isn't the fun part. Like, you need to kind of...
202 is 152 more than you need.
Yeah. And Batman, apparently, like, the Riddler has like 400 or something. So,
which is about 400 more than you need?
Yeah, the Joker balloons. What is with that? Like, other people have dumb shit you need to do. It's... Oh, maybe I'll play through the Harley Quinn DLC, I guess. I have that. Does that just roll in seamlessly, or do I have to load that up from the menu?
I have no idea, honestly.
Okay, just because it's the Game of the Year edition, so I guess... which I got in a Humble Bundle, because those Humble guys, they're so great, you know? They just give you the cheap
They're
game.
so humble.
They're so humble.
From what started off as just like, hey, we're going to give away some of these games for basically whatever you want to pay, and you know what? You can just give it to charity and we'll give it to you. Oh, we're like a corporation now. You have to give us money.
Yeah, so there's a new initiative going on at the Humble Bundle. The store has launched.
Yeah.
Which, I honestly didn't look too much into it other than I got an email. I was like, that's a little weird. They're basically just turning into GOG.com. Which is a company. Like,
they use the exact same storefront sort of thing, too.
Yeah, but what's a little different, I guess, is like the charity angle, but you can't actually determine how much you give to charity with these purchases anymore?
10%.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, I didn't know that part. I figured if you click on something, the sliders will come up again. You can be like, all right, well, my humble tip is 0, because what? And I'm going to give a lot to charity because I'm a, kind-hearted person. Or I'm
you're
going to
be giving that to, you're giving them 15% using their store, just straight up.
Yeah. So, okay. And the kind of lineup of games I was seeing was like Euro Truck and like Don't Starve and stuff, like still kind of more indie-centric stuff. But who knows where this is all going to go. I mean,
like Guild Wars 2 and Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Oh yeah. That was on there, right?
Yeah.
The Ubisoft double thing, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't feel like completely grossed out by this. Like, we were asked a few weeks ago on Top Down about, like, hey, are they becoming not so humble? And I kind of was like, I don't know. They're still okay. But, it does make me raise my eyebrow a little bit. I'm not sure exactly how to feel about maybe the frequency of all this stuff, too. Like, it's just like, we got a new bundle. We partnered with a giant company again. You're just kind of like, all right. I mean, I mean, charity is an automatic word that generates a lot of goodwill really quickly.
Yeah.
But it might, it could also be a very effective smokescreen if you're going to be a little cynical about it. Like, kind of just be like, charity, actually, very little goes to charity.
Yeah.
We keep most of that bank, yo. It's kind of like how Coke is like, we're going to donate all this money to save polar bears. And we cap out at like $250,000 or something. So, like, they're getting all this, like, goodwill from polar bear people. Like, people are concerned about these animals dying. But most of the money that's coming in because of that goodwill is actually just going to Coke. I don't know if it's actually $250,000. But there's, like, an asterisk and a little, like, fine print on the ad that explains, no, not all of the money goes. Like a very small percentage actually goes to the thing we're pumping up in this commercial. So don't get.
We should clarify that the Humble Bundle people don't actually get the lion's share though from their store. That still goes to developers.
Right. So 75 goes to developers. So like it's kind of a weird way for developers to get a bunch of goodwill purchases too. Right? Like,
sure.
I mean, that's kind of how I was interpreting the EA bundle. Like when they did that, it's just like, this is the greatest PR for EA right now. They also get tons of Origin subscribers, and all it costs them is a bunch of old games. So, whatever. Like, I mean, Dead Space 3, you could argue was still pretty current at the time, but that also kind of seemed to be a bit of a failure. So I'm sure it also doesn't cost them that much to throw that in too. So the amount of like public perception boost you get from that kind of thing versus like the bottom line hurting or whatever, like losing money, I don't know. I think it's probably worth it.
Well, my big thing, I guess, is I
still
miss
buy a lot of these. So
I miss the days when hearing that there was a new Humble Bundle out was kind of like the best day of that month.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just like, oh, cool, I'm going to see what I can get. But now it's like there's a Humble Bundle every whenever. There's a weekly sale every week, and now there's a store where you can always just buy something.
Yeah.
Do we need another store, too? Like, just straight up? I don't think so.
Like, it kind of just became another GOG.com, right? Like, now there's another thing to check every week.
But not even, like, GOG.com is more original in the fact that they do older games.
Right. They at least have a unique spin on it, where this is just kind of like, well, Steam. I have Steam. Yeah.
This is literally Steam Store version 2.
And they've kind of partnered with Steam more and more so over the years. Like, they have that kind of connect directly to Steam thing now, because they know that's like a big draw for them. So, yeah. I don't know. It is a little strange. And it does kind of take some of the magic out of it. Like, you don't get that kind of like, oh, wow, cool, there's another Humble Bundle? It's just like, no, there's always another Humble Bundle.
Right.
Like, you missed the last 8 Humble Bundles? Like, what are you doing? You're just like, oh, okay. Like, they still have the numbered core ones, like the Humble Indie Bundle, but, it is definitely diluting the kind of specialness of all of that with, like, yeah, there's a weekly sale, and some of them are crazy. Like, there's some really good deals on those, too. And then, like, in a way that almost makes some of the indie ones a little kind of like, well, I got, like, Batman Arkham City Game of the Year edition for, like, a nickel. So
why am I going to pay money for Receiver now?
Yeah, like, it kind of makes it, like, the value is, like, kind of equalizing for all of this stuff. So you get, like, this high-profile, big-budget stuff on the same plane as, like, this lower-budget stuff, and it kind of makes everything seem a little weird. Like, you're just like, I don't know, like, what's worth anything anymore? Like,
this is something I want to do in indie talks with somebody about. Like, I want to talk to an indie dev and see what they think. That it's like, how do you feel that this AAA Game of the Year title is about the same as your cheapest sale ever now?
Right. Like, it's kind of hard to compete with that kind of giant production value and stuff now. Like, yeah, it's kind of making it, I'm assuming that's putting some pressure on indies in a weird way. Because, like, honestly, like, I'm just going to say, like, I get a lot of Indie Royale emails, too, and I just don't care. Like, I'll look at it, and I look at it, and it's just like, well, I've never heard of these games, and it's possible some of them are good, but if I'm going to give $5 to some sort of bundle thing right now, I'm going to give it to the WB bundle, because those are huge, high-profile games. Like, I want those. Whereas this is like, I have no idea about any of this. Like, these could be bad. I don't know. And some of them aren't on Steam. Like, some of them are only on Desura, and I don't like to load that up that often.
Sure.
So it's just less convenient. And
some of them aren't even out, as I was griping about a few episodes ago. They sold me a game that wasn't even out yet.
Right. So, like, I don't want to say, like, Indie Royale is kind of doing a good thing and that they're trying to shine a spotlight on lesser known developers with, like, more independent roots, like, they're actually, like, this could make or break them in a lot of ways. Like, this is a big thing for them. But just without, like, I have just no knowledge about any of the stuff they're talking about. Like, I just don't care. Like, I just am not really as invested. And I feel kind of bad saying that, but
you probably shouldn't.
I have not bought a Royale bundle in quite a while.
Sure.
So sorry guys, but I don't know.
If they were worth a shit, maybe they could get bigger names on it.
But like, should that be the thing? Like, should you be combating to get the sweet people on your label or whatever? Like,
it depends if you want to go the humble way of making money, I guess, or if you want to showcase these games. So, I mean,
like, is Rhythm Destruction cool? Maybe, I don't know, but
like, do you think Humble just got lucky because of like their first couple bundles having really big games when indies were huge?
well, like they got some of those kind of marquee indie titles when they were at, like, like Bastion and stuff, when everyone was still talking about Bastion. Like
And like Super Meat Boy and Amnesia, The Dark Descent. Like they got a lot of good indie games that were like the AAA of indie games is what they got.
Right.
Whereas Indie Royale seems to be getting maybe the like bottom of the barrel, like scratching for the last little bit there.
But like, I don't know. Like that's just because I haven't heard of them. Like at some point, none of us had heard of FTL, right? Or Amnesia, I guess, or Fez, Fez was a pretty high profile pretty quickly. But there's games that have just kind of come along that no one was really paying attention to. So maybe some of these are tomorrow's those, right? Like maybe Rhythm Destruction or Subject 9 are really great.
No, you're right. And
Well,
maybe it's just me now that doesn't have the time or care to find those anymore.
Or like, yeah, I don't have time to dig through 8 indie games to see if any of them are good. Like it's just like, well, I'll just play stuff I know is hot. Like I don't, I don't have all the time in the world to do that. So maybe Saturday Morning RPG is really funny. These are all games that are in the current indie date, like the debut 6 bundle on Indie Royale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like it's only $5, but that's that's $5. That's the same amount of money I paid for the WB bundle. And again, Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, and like Fear. I shouldn't have bought Fear the bundle when I did because I really just wanted Fear 3, and it was in there. So
yep.
Kind of crazy. But yeah, I don't know. This kind of battle for indie supremacy. Like, wait, does Indie Royale even do the charity angle?
I honestly don't know. I think they do. Maybe?
I don't know.
It seems like something I should be looking up. Maybe. Sorry, I got a weird hiccup. I've been eating macaroons.
I don't know if they do. They honestly don't really highlight that. I think you're just kind of giving it to the developers. So in a way, this is almost more like I don't mind that. Like the charity angle, I find maybe it could be exploitative, right? Like it's just kind of like make a big deal about your kind-hearted nature when you're kind of just wanting customers, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like that's a way to look at it that I will choose to look at it that way because I'm very cynical about all of that kind of stuff. Because I don't know, like I will raise my eyebrow at your charity. It's just like, I don't know. Why haven't you cured cancer yet if you've been doing this for so long?
One of the games in the debut 6 bundle on Indie Royale is called Footlol Epic Fail League, and that sounds like the worst thing, and they don't have my money just because that one game's in there.
Okay. I didn't bring that one up because, yeah, it says Footlol.
It's really bad. That's a really bad name, and they should feel really bad.
There's 7 other games here, though. Like Duel Zus.
Saturday Morning RPG isn't much better.
I mentioned that, but okay.
That name isn't very good.
But maybe it's about cartoons.
That would be okay, but I don't know. Saturday Morning, whatever. You know what? Moving on. Humble Bundle Store is out.
Yeah.
You can give them money, I guess, but I would still rather give it to Steam maybe because they've been around forever, and I kind of don't mind supporting Valve. I'll just be completely honest. I'm having more of a problem supporting Humble, like the Humble people, because they are not so humble and they're starting to act kind of like pieces of shit.
Well, maybe. It's more like they just, there's this pretense about it. Whereas Valve is just like, we're just a company and we want your money.
Well, yeah. I mean, if the Humble store were just like, okay, so this is a store section. We still do the bundle, and you can choose how much goes to charity and whatever. But in this section right here, it's all going to developers and us. We're not making any pretense about it. The fact that there's charity thrown in there makes me feel like they're just kind of fucking vultures or something preying on people's goodwill.
Maybe. I mean, that's certainly a way to look at it. And yeah. I don't know.
I will still be buying the Humble Bundles for $1 though, when there is the one game I want.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm a consumer.
I know, I recognize a good deal when I see one. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still buying Humble Bundles on the regular, but I mean, it is kind of bizarre seeing the kind of, well, I paid less than that, or like I paid that on Steam for Don't Starve. Like, I guess if you want an avenue to do that, but also give a little bit to charity, because I don't know, you feel real strongly about one of them or something, then this is a way to do that. But
If you want to give to charity, though, why wouldn't you just give to charity? You know?
fair. You know what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair. I don't know if a lot of people would normally want to give to charity at all, unless it's easy to do so, right?
I've done so for like live streams and stuff because it's not only giving a charity with a live stream, it's also showing support for like whoever is running it or your website or whatever. So then it's kind of like I'm showing this charity that this guy here is able to get my attention. So like there's a weird little thing associated with that makes me feel kind of less gross than buying Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon and giving 10 cents to charity. That almost seems like a spit in the face to me. Where it's just like now I feel better about it, but then it's like, should you feel good about giving to charity? Probably not. Like,
well, isn't any money to charity potentially good? Whereas if it's just not going to, yeah, but I mean, at the same time, like, some charities, are they really accomplishing that much? Like, what is their overhead? All this stuff. Like, there's ways you can scrutinize charities. Or, you can kind of, like, evaluate what a charity's core mission statement is and whether or not that even matters to you.
Coney 2012.
Coney 2012. Well, that, but also, like, I've had a weird attitude about Child's Play for a long time. Because it seems like not that big an issue on a global stage, Like, it's just like, over here, kids are dying. Over here, kids are bored in a hospital. Like, that's not equal, right?
Sure.
Like, it just doesn't seem, like, it seems kind of absurd to me to, like, be really concerned about one over the other, but I totally get it, because, like, that could be your kid in the hospital. Like, that's, this is your country, and you're going to prioritize that. But, like, if you're seeing some ads where it's just like, we need $1 a month for this kid to even have pure water. Like, again, that seems more important than we provide video games for kids who might not have as many video games. It's
or even like, I like the EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, because they're using the money to like pay for lawyers and like get activist stuff or whatever, basically, that are like keeping your online digital rights going.
Right.
So, I like that sort of stuff, but I do agree with you. Like, even that is more global because there's a lot of people online and a lot of people getting fucked or could get fucked online. But like Child's Play is literally, like you said, getting an NES to that kid in that ward or whatever.
Not even an NES. That would be like, because you don't get any choice in like what games are they playing. Like, what am I actually supporting? Like, you're just kind of generally supporting kids should play video games more. And really? Like, that seems kind of a weird charity to me. Like, it always has. And for a while, like, I'm pretty sure I said that on an older episode and kind of didn't express it very well because it was like pretty blunt. Like, it's just like, what the hell, man? What is this? But like, dude, the Penny Arcade, they're being so generous. And now that their reputation's a little more tarnished, maybe I can get away with it. But I don't know.
Like if you want to look at it from that angle, it's kind of weird because then it's like this company is setting up this charity for like kids, for something that, like you said, probably isn't maybe the most important thing. And they're getting goodwill out of it, and they're probably making some like money or at least charity credits or whatever off of it too. But
like,
yeah,
I mean, it's all like what resonates with you, what matters to you. Like, there was a while where I was like, why would we give any money to human charities? There's 7 billion of us. Orangutans. There's not enough. We need more orangutans. And I was very serious about it. But that has faded a bit too, because it's been a couple years since Rise of the Planet of the Apes came out, and my orangutan excitement has petered out a bit. But
fair enough.
I mean, there are 7 billion humans. Never forget.
Never forget. Anyways, so Humble Store, let's just bring this around a little bit. You know what you will never see on that store?
What's that?
Beyond Two Souls.
Right, because it's a PlayStation game. And
It is.
Exclusive.
I've been playing a bit of it. I'm halfway through, and the reason I say halfway through is because I looked up a FAQ to see how many chapters there were without spoiling anything, and then I counted how many I was on, so I'm 11 out of 20 or something like that.
And how long would you say you've been playing?
5 hours?
Okay.
4 or 5 hours, probably.
I guess so. I kind of lost track of how long that game was. It seemed long to me. And I don't know if that's just because you're kind of just watching a really long movie.
It's kind of because it's not very good.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's kind of a factor. I will say one thing. I started it up. I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I mean, it looks beautiful. Let's just get that out of the way. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Sometimes it looks like any other game, kind of.
But like some of the animations and the facial like animations and stuff.
Like the scenes that you know are cutscenes and not just like fake cutscenes that you can press a button in. Those look really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But the other stuff, whatever. What I really liked is at one of the beginning sequences is you play young, what's her name, Jodie?
Yeah, Jodie.
Young Jodie. And you're kind of doing this experiment, seeing if you can see what cards another woman's looking at in the other room.
That scene from Ghostbusters, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a point in there where they're like, okay, can you make him move something? And you're like, okay, this is where I come in now, and I can just like throw this over. They're like, okay, good. And the lady's freaked out, but she's okay because she realizes it's okay or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, can you do something else? And then I'm like, oh, fuck, yes, I can. And I just start throwing around a bunch of other shit.
Yeah.
And by the end of that, I had thrown everything around. I realized Jodie in the other room was crying and telling me to stop. And I could have stopped the whole time.
Yeah.
And that was cool because it was like, oh, no, I actually went out of control myself. And the game reacted to that appropriately. That's awesome.
Yeah, I had one of those too. And I agree. It kind of was like I thought it was like an interesting dynamic between the player and the characters in the game.
Well, because you are playing the force that she can't control, and it makes sense because you're controlling yourself.
Okay,
like in the story.
For most,
no, at that moment.
At that moment,
let me
deviate, and it bothers me. But okay,
let me continue.
Yep.
I realized this was broken much later on when I wanted to do other stuff, and you can't because there's not a dot on it.
Yeah.
So
there's that, and there's also just like points. Like there's specifically a chapter in that game where they just start having Aiden do dumb shit that I wouldn't do. And up to that point, I felt like I kind of was Aiden. Like they were kind of like.
How far?
It was called The Dinner. Was the chapter? I think it's like 14 or something.
Oh,
maybe.
So it's like I haven't reached it yet, probably.
Probably. It's like a dinner date. You're preparing for a date. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, dude, no. Yeah, no.
Okay. Like, up until that point, I was like under the understanding that the game's contract with me was essentially your role in this story is this force.
And you're supposed to help her along with what she needs.
And, like, the characters in the game will occasionally talk to you, the force, and you know, we're going to give you a name and whatever and kind of justify your existence in this world. But the stuff you get to mess around with in the game, like that's cool. Like that's part of how this works, and they kind of accounted for that, and I thought that was neat. But then they kind of didn't do that in a couple later places, and it really bothered me. Because it was like, no, Aiden is just another scripted character in this game, and I don't know who I am at this point. I guess I'm just watching this weird movie. So it kind of distanced me a bit from some of the stuff, and I wasn't really into that. Because, yeah, it was kind of an inventive way of having the player be a role in the game without them kind of having to speak or whatever. Like, it was kind of like, you're in another dimension. You're trapped.
No, like, it makes sense, because you're this weird, like, omnipresent force, which you are when you play any video game. You are the force that's controlling what something does. It's kind of neat that the game is revolving around this idea that, okay, we know that the player is a force, so we're going to give them kind of an outlet and everything's going to react accordingly because they can't see you, they can't see Aiden or whatever. So there's like, you are supposed to be him, and now that you're telling me that I had seen this before, there were parts where it's like, no, like, I actually legitimately want to help Jodie out in this situation, but I can't yet because this scene hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
So, I'm speaking specifically about a part where you go to a party and you give a girl a book. There's so many things where I'm just like, no, I'm going to do this now, but I couldn't because they had to do something first, and then I could.
I guess that was the scene where I was going pretty far, and then Jodie was protesting, and I stopped. So we can kind of. And that's the one.
I'm just gonna say everybody in that scene was no longer conscious by the time I was done, and everything was gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I pulled back just before that, I guess.
Fuck that. Fuck them all.
There was a candle, and I was like, I don't want to do that.
There's so many times I wanted to just choke everyone out, and it wouldn't let me, and that bothered me.
Yeah, like, there's definitely moments where it seems completely contrived. Like, it's just like, if Jodie's getting hassled right now, why can't Aiden intervene right now? You know? Like, why isn't there just a means of, like, being like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna shove you through this wall kind of thing, you know? Like, you can't do stuff until the game prescribes that it is okay. And, I mean, there's all sorts of narrative problems with, like, the amount of power Aiden can grant Jodie just not happening. Like, it's just like, well, actually, nobody's in danger at all, because we've already seen her fall off a building and nothing happened. So,
sure,
everyone chill out. Aiden's got this. Like, that should just be the attitude with everyone, like, the whole game. They're just like, Aiden's got it, and then just everyone you hate dies. Because, like, you're that powerful at times, and then at other times you're not, just because drama. And it kind of doesn't work.
The part that pushed it over the edge for me was the part where you're homeless.
Yeah.
That was fucking annoying and pointless.
Yeah. That chapter has some real problems.
I need you to tell me that they tie that into the story somewhere, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Ever.
I mean, there's some stuff towards the very, very end of that game where you can bring it back to that, and I did, and I was okay with it, but yeah. I mean, Sean and I had a pretty long discussion about this on a spoiler episode.
Right, but I can't listen to that, so...
Not yet, yeah, because we talk right about the end and stuff, too. So, yeah, I don't want to kind of be too explicit about some of the stuff that happens, but there's some, like, there's some ending choices. There's, like, multiple endings to that game, and they're all pretty late game stuff, so you can kind of just see the different paths. I only watched the one through, though. Like, I played through it.
I mean, YouTube is a thing, so I will see all of them.
Yeah, like, it was like, do you really want to load up this game again, play through, like, half an hour stuff, then see the end, and then do it again and again and again? Like, that's how I used to do this when, like, Indigo Prophecy came out. I played through that game multiple times. But yeah, YouTube probably has it. Probably.
I'm going to say that game isn't very good so far, though. It has parts that are very good, but for the most... maybe it's the fact that I know people have said this before without giving spoilers on other things, and I'm starting to see why they say it. Splitting it up into, like, back and forth, I think is detrimental because I don't care about any of the parts.
That was definitely one of my big issues with it, was, like, it elected to have a non-linear storyline, like, just chopped up in different times and whatever. And that just completely destroyed any kind of dramatic build to a lot of the stuff. Like, it's just like, oh, now I know why Willem Dafoe was upset about that, like, 8 chapters ago. I don't care at this point. You know, like, just kind of stuff like that, where it's just like, explanation comes after a thing, or, like, the payoff for a thing happens way later. Like, it's just like, this is all scrambled. Like, it doesn't seem like intentionally scrambled to kind of reveal something. It just seems kind of arbitrarily torn up and spread around. And I don't know why.
And I'm a bit annoyed, too, because if this was a movie, I would be okay with spending my 2 or even 3 hours, maybe. Or even if it was, like, 3 movies and it was still 6 hours.
Or something, yeah.
I'd be okay with sitting there and just, like, passively doing, like, just accepting it. And I think I would be okay with it, even though it would be a completely unremarkable movie.
Like
because
maybe just kind of a goofy 90s sci-fi or something. Like
David Cage isn't that good. Like, he's just not that good, straight up.
David Cage as a writer.
Yes,
Like,
he's just not that original. He's not interesting. Like, he's just trying to steal a whole bunch of cliches from different movies and try to make them work in this world he dreamed up. And nobody's telling him that's a bad idea. And even if they are, I'm pretty sure he just tells them go fuck themselves or whatever.
yeah.
So whatever. I mean, David Cage just isn't that good, straight up. However, I always seem to need to see what he does.
Because he's kind of the only one doing it quite like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of like this weird, just curious to a fault about what's going on over here. And occasionally there's like, wow, that's actually a good idea. Or like, that was an impressive scene. Or that was an interesting topic to bring up. But it's rarely all comes together in a way that's really, really impressive. Like, yeah, it's almost been like diminishing returns. Like, because I saw Indigo Prophecy back when I did, it was like, this is really cool. Like, I really like this. And then the more I played it, it was kind of like, wow, there's just a lot of smoke and mirrors here, and you can't actually make choices. That kind of sucks. But it's still kind of neat, And then Heavy Rain, because of the way the story goes, like, I was just really not into that game. And I guess I'll say, like, there was no one plot moment in Beyond Two Souls that just, like, broke everything for me. It was more just, like, generally, like, not hitting the same peaks over the course of it. Like, it was just kind of like a lower but more consistent tone of just like, this is kind of ridiculous and kind of stupid, but it's also kind of neat at times, so okay. And that was enough to kind of pull me through the whole game. But
Heavy Rain, though,
yeah.
There was enough in Heavy Rain to keep me going, even though it was all red herrings and it broke in the end.
Well, yeah, like, the reveal at the end, though, ruins it. But up to the reveal, you're kind of curious about it.
Right. So it pulled me through okay,
mystery.
and I have a feeling this will tie everything together in the end okay, so that when I remember back on other parts, I'll be like, okay, the problem is I don't care enough about the parts right now that they broke their own game doing that.
Mm-hmm. Like, if that was a linear story, it might actually be more interesting. Like, it's just like, you're this little kid, you end up becoming, like, part of this program where you're getting trained to use your powers and all this. Like, it's like, okay. Like, this
we talk about how that part sucked, the whole CIA training thing. That was so fucking terrible.
Like, the montage?
It was bad. It was just so fucking bad. All it is like quick, like Ninja Blade. That
yeah.
game. It was that. It was except Ninja Blade was the whole game like that, but it was all just a cutscene that you had to push. But it was a huge QuickTime event that there was no story except that you're in the CIA.
And you're training, and it kind of covers a lot of time in a sequence. Like, it was literally a training montage that you're playing. Like, you're touching the controller while it's happening. I mean, parts of my kind of defending it is just, it's a weird role for Ellen Page, and I'm a big fan of Ellen Page. So it's just like, she's never played a psychic secret agent before, so okay.
There's a point, though, where it doesn't even feel like Ellen Page anymore because of that Uncanny Valley going on, where it's just like, no, this is just this weird creature that David Cage has created that looks very similar to Ellen Page.
I never got that weirded out.
Him or her and Willem Dafoe, they're just, I mean, I don't think of them as real people anymore because of this game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I definitely had no kind of issues with that. Like, I really treated it like I was watching a movie. And it's like a weird machinima movie at some times, but it still worked for me generally, visually. Like, I was never torn out of it in a way that was like, oh, video games, what's happening? Like, it was just like, no, this is a weird animation. Like, this is a weird animated movie. That was kind of how I was feeling it. But, okay, I mean, it's definitely a highly problematic thing in a lot of ways, and I wasn't raving about it really ever, but okay. You gonna finish it, you think, or no? You done?
Oh, yeah, because I have to. I'm halfway. I just want to see how it wraps up and then never play it again.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much what I did.
I'll end this conversation with a comment from the chat. RobApp1 says, I'd bang Ellen Page so hard.
Oh, okay. So he saw that nude model that got out, hey? That was pretty weird.
What was with that? Why would they have to do that?
I don't know. That has been its own great controversial thing that happened, because, like, it isn't actually her, but they, for some reason, decided to, like, you know, build the entire 3D model based on some other person or whatever and kind of fill in the blanks. It's just like, all right, well, there's no nipples here, but we're going to put some here and whatever. And it's just like, why did you need this? I mean, if you weren't going to use it, like, it's not, there's no nudity in the game. Like, there is a shower scene, though, so you get some side boob. But why did you need front boob to animate side boob? You don't. What are you doing? Like, I don't know. It is a little weird. And I don't know, is she suing? Is that still going on? Like, wasn't there a whole bunch of...
Is it weird that she wants to sue for that? Like,
well, I mean,
kind of
in
like
her contracts...
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty standard thing with actors. Like, it's like, I have a no nudity clause. Like, you know, I guess it's performance capture, so it's kind of a weird, unexplored frontier in a lot of ways, but, you know, it certainly seems to violate aspects of that.
But does it because she wasn't nude? Somebody just designed the character in their video game that isn't her, but has her likeness.
Has her likeness, though.
Yeah, so, I know. Like, it's a weird gray area that I don't know how they would even decide this.
It is a gray area, but I guess it certainly warrants some manner of legal investigation, I guess, because it's like...
I don't know why they would even do it. Like, what the hell is the point?
She was really positive about working on that game and stuff, though, so I don't know if that's soured since all that came to light. I don't know. But I guess, yeah, it's like debug consoles and all this stuff. Like, it's kind of hard to even get at that stuff.
Yeah. Well, unless you have the internet, then you just type it into Google.
Oh, no. Like, I mean... Yeah, seeing the results of this thing is easy, but actually, like, getting at that content on the game itself is not.
You know what the bigger problem of it is, actually, is that it sets a bad precedence now, where if they want to use someone's likeness, it's like, well, I don't want to do that because your pervert fucking design team could just put these giant tits on me.
Yeah, like, I guess.
It kind of hurts, like, this whole... trying to merge games and movies thing that David Cage wants to do so badly by doing it.
It's almost weird to me there hasn't been some sort of investigation of this beforehand with, like, the actress who played Miranda in Mass Effect. There is a very detailed nude model of that character in Source Filmmaker. That
you gotta believe that I have pictures of that.
Yeah, like, there's, you know, all manner of crazy Mass Effect porn out there that some of those actors are like, those are based on people's likenesses, and I've heard none of them address that at all because it's not in the game. I guess that's maybe the difference, is like, this is just perv modder people, or maybe awesome modder people. It depends, you know, on your opinion on it, I guess. Like, I don't want to, you know, throw them under the bus or whatever, because they might be doing good work. I don't know. Depends on your, you know, perception of this whole issue. It's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, I'm going to keep backtracking, and eventually I'm just going to be like, nah.
Can I talk about another thing I played on my PS3?
Yeah.
I tried Hotline Miami on it.
Yeah. Okay.
The control is so bad. Like...
that on there, though.
Huh?
I beat it on there. It's not that bad.
It is bad. I mean, maybe you got used to it. I just stopped playing after the first couple minutes.
Oh, okay.
But like you do get used to it then.
The finesse of it is gone. Like, you end up just kind of generally pointing towards them and hitting and hoping it works out sometimes.
It kind of slows it down, maybe?
It does slow it down. Like, I can't pull off the same combos I could on PC, so I'm kind of like, you know, little burst of hitting 3 dudes and then stopping. You know, it's kind of back to playing it the first time again, almost. Which... once you get used to it, I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool to have that sensation of, like, this is almost like playing it for the first time, but not. You know, I've seen these levels, but beating it is now a challenge again, as opposed to just kind of, I'm bored with it. So it was enough to get me through the game one more time. I've beaten that game a lot of times now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Man, if you think that's bad, don't play the Vita version, because I don't think that is a good version.
Yeah, I think I did tweet something about that where it's just like, the PS3 is maybe the worst sin. Like the PS3 controller to play Hotline Miami might be the worst sin or whatever. I can't imagine what that's like on Vita though.
Vita is worse. You're using the touch screen, and that makes no sense. I've said it before.
Yeah.
It's like, no, my hands are on the control sticks right now. I can't also, like, I don't have that many hands. I don't know who designed that. Like, what are you thinking? Because you're locking on and like aiming with the touchscreen, and you can't. That doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So I would say that version is kind of profoundly flawed. But it was free with the PS3 version, so whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the PC version I think is still the ideal. Like when Hotline Miami 2 comes out, I'm not going to buy the PS3 version. Like that's not what's going to happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, provided there is a PS3 version. Like, okay, is all mobile development going to continue kind of on both, or like, I mean, indie development, or are they just going to be like, no, this is on PS4, it's exclusive? And you're just like, why? It's Transistor. This could be on anything. It's exclusive. Like, are they going to do that?
I don't know.
Like what I've seen of Resogun actually looks like there's a lot of particles flying around. It's kind of crazy. So
yeah.
That's a PS4 game. That makes sense. But like some of this kind of straddling the generations thing, it's just like, this is an indie game. Like this is sprites. This could play on anything. Why isn't this on the older systems? Like I guess I'm just like, I don't know how quickly Sony and Microsoft are going to drop their old consoles. I mean, we're 3 days away from PlayStation 4 coming out. Like, I'm just, will it make sense for me to keep having a gold membership past a certain point, or will it just kind of dry up or something? Like, will it just be like, hey man, this month's PlayStation Plus exclusive is a PS4 game. Get on board. And you're just like, oh, okay. I didn't want to, but thanks.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like maybe they'll kind of try to goad everybody into making the jump or something. But yeah, I don't know. Next gen, ready? How excited are you?
Not. I don't care.
Okay.
What about you?
I guess I'm kind of curious, just as like a fan of video game coverage. Like podcasts and video reviews and like just like seeing the industry kind of react to all this stuff might be kind of interesting. But as for like, are there actual next gen video games you want to play? No, like there aren't at all. Really, like I'm fine waiting for a while on that front. Like I want to play that new Mario game, but I already have that machine, so I'll be playing that while everyone's playing Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag on the PS4 and Rise Fall of Rome or whatever, which doesn't look good.
Yeah.
That looks pretty generic. I don't know.
You have your pre-orders?
No.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I don't even know. Like, I mean, for a while I was kind of like, oh, that would be funny. I should go to the launch and just kind of see what's going on. Like, just kind of hang out, like check out the scene or whatever. But I'm pretty sure I have work. Yeah.
If I wasn't working, we could go down there with like a video camera and just like do a weird interview thing or something. Mm-hmm. Talk to people online.
I have the Saturday right after off, so I could stay up late that night and see the craziness. But oh no, would it be the 14th night where that would happen?
Yeah,
like
probably.
Midnight 15th. It's all on. Yeah,
so.
Never mind. I'm not doing that. That would just ruin my day.
Yeah.
So whatever. I will just see live streams and tweets and whatever about it, and be like, yeah, next kind of whatever. Okay. Kind of figured that. Or like, the new Killzone game. I guess that was the thing. Just sorry to bounce back to Ghost briefly.
Mm-hmm.
I was having a less frustrating time playing that than I was with Killzone 3. So,
okay.
if that's a valuable comparison point, like it's just like, this game actually lets me shoot the dudes and then continues and ends. And, it also has a totally whatever story that I don't give a shit about, but at least it let me finish it quickly, whereas Killzone 3 is like, no man, this is like challenging. You need to figure this out. And I was just like, I don't care. I don't want to do this. So, yeah, I don't know. Something about the feel of Killzone I still haven't figured out, and I don't know if it's because it's nuanced or something, or if it's just not good. So, yeah. I'll probably finish that with the move at your house at some point.
Yeah, I gotta dig that out. I don't actually have the little navigation controller, so I'm gonna buy one of those too.
Oh, okay.
I've been just using the regular PS3
kind of
controller.
The night of motion games or something. Like, I honestly want to play more Rise of Nightmares, though. Like, I was having fun. That was like, enjoyable.
Yeah, no, that's not bad. But if we're gonna stream that, I do want to set up a webcam or whatever. It was just late at night. I didn't want to do any more work.
Mm-hmm.
That was basically it.
Rise of Nightmares, we can try that again with a proper video setup. But, yeah. Okay. Video games. I've been talking a lot about them.
Yeah.
What has been going on over there?
Okay, so as I've said here before, and most people probably know or whatever, Saturdays at work, we have kind of like a movie night. Like after we're done all our work for the day, because there's no more trucks or whatever on the weekend, and we're just kind of waiting around, we just watch a movie or something. The guy I work with had never seen Jurassic Park, so we watched Jurassic Park. And it was weird watching that with somebody who hadn't seen it before.
Were they still digging it? Like, did it...
Not really, but that's because they don't like dinosaurs, apparently, I found out. Like, don't like, but they just don't see the draw of them.
Okay, well, they're big lizards, kind of like monsters.
Like, he kind of is. But anyways, like, even with that, he still liked it, because it's kind of like a weird monster movie, right?
Yeah, it's like just a fun, bit of scares. It's a thriller. There's dinosaurs and dudes
but it's
trying
kind of weird that movie still works for somebody, even if they don't care about dinosaurs. So maybe that says something about how it was filmed, or like...
Well, I think the big thing that's impressive about that movie is, like, that was in a special effects movie for the time, and it hasn't dated horribly.
I was going to say, people always say that it still holds up very well. I'm going to say it holds up, not necessarily very well, though.
Like some sequences worse than others. Like,
oh, definitely, for sure.
Like, the ones that are combination animatronic CG, they blend that stuff pretty well. So it's like the T-Rex scene, still great.
Yep.
Raptors, pretty good. The like flock of like dinosaurs running around in that field, though, looks like shit. It's just bad.
And the Brachiosaurus in general, when they first...
Yeah, the Brachiosaurus isn't great. Like, there's moments where it's just like, yeah, it was 1993. I mean, what are you gonna do?
The T-Rex part is legitimately still very scary, though. Like, when you know what's happening, just like the size of this thing, and every time it lets out a screech, you're like, oh, Jesus. Like, it's just so scary.
Finally seeing that in a theater somewhat recently, it was like, wow, this is awesome. Like, this is where this movie was meant to be displayed. Like,
see, I actually saw it in theaters when it came out. I was great. I was very young with my dad, and we had gotten the Jurassic Park cup with like a dinosaur on it, and all of that bullshit. Went to see it, and I remember it just terrifying me, because when that part happens, when you're a kid, your seat is rumbling from the sound.
Yeah. No, I saw part of that movie like around that age. Like, it must have been 94 or something whenever it came out on home video, and I thought it was way too scary. I was just like, this is fucked up. This is weird. There's giant dinosaurs chasing these people. I do not want to see this. But yeah, when I eventually saw it, it was like at the, once I was ready for that kind of intense experience. That was awesome. I was a very easily scared kid for a long time, though. Like Poltergeist, man, that movie was scary.
Sure.
A clown? That was just weird. Why would you have a clown doll like that? That's no good.
You know how the internet loves Ian Malcolm?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that love Ian Malcolm remember like 2 or 3 of his lines, because that character in general is just a douchebag that you wouldn't ever like.
He's a fun douchebag, though. Like,
for the most part.
That whole bit where he's just like, at some point, are there actually dinosaurs in your house?
I know. Like, there are parts and lines he says and stuff that are funny.
Yeah, and he's breathing on the camera. And then John Hammond is like...
I really hate that, man.
It's so good.
I know. Like, stuff like that's fine, but if you watch, like, the whole performance, that guy's just a douche.
Yeah. But there's that bit after he's hurt where he's, like, just sprawled out on the table like a sexy pirate. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's like... That scene in the theater got a huge laugh, because it's just like, it's like the cover of a Harlequin romance or something. Like, it's weird. It's just sweaty Jeff Goldblum with his shirt open, like leaning. It's just so weird. Great stuff.
Sure.
Aaron is also in that movie. I don't know. I enjoy that movie, but okay. First time seeing it, kind of okay, despite not liking dinosaurs. That's probably a win. That's good.
That's still a win for, like, what is that, a 20-year-old movie now?
Yeah, it's its 20th anniversary this year.
Yeah.
It's been a while. And yeah, wow, yeah. I was like 6 years old when that movie came out. It's a long time ago. Old cast.
We're just remembering now. That's why there was silence.
Yeah, we're thinking back to like that action figure I had where you press the button and the arms pop off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or
Samuel L. Jackson.
Was it the Stegosaurus with a tail that could rip off or whatever?
I don't know.
I don't know. There was a bunch of weird dinosaur toys when that came out.
Ushered in a whole new era of dinosaur enthusiasm.
Oh no, I think the Stegosaurus had like a side, like a piece that you could remove from his side, and it showed like ribs.
Yeah, I got like big chunk bit out of him or something.
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of weird. Yeah, hold on to your butts. That's what he says.
Wayne, it's weird seeing Wayne Knight at his absolute heaviest.
Yeah.
Because that dude lost a lot of weight, but even in Seinfeld, he wasn't that big as he is in that movie.
He is huge in that movie. But, man, some of those lines, too, just stick with me forever. Like that first scene where he's, like, eating pie. And, like, you know, Dawson. We got Dawson here. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
It's great.
You didn't say the magic word.
Yeah.
Please. Just scream.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Look at this station. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that movie is like fast becoming like that kind of classic, like quotable. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's been 20 years, but it is in that category of just like, this is classic now for my generation or whatever. Like, it is just
life. Finds a way.
Yeah.
Just so dumb.
Life finds a way. I mean,
life finds a way.
They find those eggshells and it's just like, they're breeding. Oh, yeah. Sam Neill. Great times. Okay. Well, I'm glad you were able to share the magic of Jurassic Park with somebody.
Yeah.
Who's tragically missed that for their whole lives. Are they going to see Lost World now? Are they going to keep going down this path?
Probably not. I wouldn't. You know what? If he doesn't like dinosaurs,
and
he enjoyed Jurassic Park,
just leave it at that.
I think we're okay. You know what? I don't have to try to make him see the majesty hidden within the garbage that is Lost World.
Yeah, there are things to be found within Lost World. There are moments that I like.
Actually, there's quite a few moments. The problem is they are wrapped up in a garbage movie.
There's a lot of bad stuff too, and it's so long. And I mean, I kind of love in a doofy way that it ends in San Diego. Like there's just a T-Rex in the streets, but that is so bad. Like that shouldn't happen. I don't know. I get why you want it to, but it doesn't work. And I don't know. And I mean, we were just talking about like Ian Malcolm's a douche. He is like not having fun in the second movie. Like his character
because he's serious.
Same. Yeah, it's just like he is no longer carefree and funny. And I don't know. Like that just is such a bummer to me because there's like no quotable good lines from him in the second movie. Like I'm trying to think. Like I'm racking my brains. You got cut from the team? That is a terrible line.
Sure.
So bad. Ugh.
I can't think of any either. Anyways, moving on, I want to talk about something.
Okay, sorry.
Nintendo gets rid of Swap Note. Too many penises, man.
Yep.
So did you ever use Swap Note?
No. Was that just their, Picto Chat for the 3DS? Like that was just their new version of that?
Yeah, but like the reason I used it is because every now and then when there was an announcement, they would get an actual artist from Nintendo to like do the spot pass or whatever, the Wi-Fi thing, and it would be like this weird announcement where this chick's drawing some cool shit. And I thought that was cool.
Okay.
But other than that, they're not wrong. The first Swap Note I ever got was somebody drawing a penis and just cum everywhere. So that was the first thing I ever got on Swap Note. But I'm just wondering, Nathan, because you might be an expert on this.
Yep.
How many penises are too many penises for Nintendo to shut down a system, a thing?
I don't know. Like, was there no voting system on that kind of stuff? Because like, I know the Wii U has like you can draw pictures and share them, and I'm pretty sure there's a pretty easy way to just say this is garbage and then it won't be shown.
Sure.
So I don't think that has been taken down, right? Like that's still up, right?
Is that maybe why they closed SwapNote? Because they're like, we have this better thing, and this is just like childish pornography.
Well, it's weird to me that they can't just patch it to have more control or something of it. Like, maybe because it's just people can use this and just chat with each other, and too many people are being crude idiots with each other, and we don't want that to happen because Nintendo's a family-friendly thing.
Maybe.
So let's just shut this down.
Or maybe they could go the opposite way and make penises the cool thing, because kids don't like following the trends, right?
Well...
So then, like, instead of having to draw one, maybe they have a stamp feature that just has like this
kind of
dick on it.
Like, kind of like in the super bad art thing, like just give them some personality. Like they got a smiley face on them or something. Like make an emoticon series that is just dicks,
or like,
and it kind of takes it out of it. It kind of like the way Kanye is using the Confederate flag. Take the sting out of it a little bit.
He's taking it back.
Yeah, just take it back. Like just be like, no, Nintendo's all about penises. That's what we're into.
Well,
Tanukis, man, they got giant balls. That's like how they transform Japanese culture.
I know, like, SwapNote has different, like, backgrounds you could use or whatever, like little different notepads. Maybe one just has these giant fucking wieners all over it, and you could draw, like, happy faces or sad faces, and you can really make a dick for every occasion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the way they should have gone about it. But more than anything, I just found it interesting because it's hilarious that they took it down because people were being too crude with it.
Yeah, it's like we don't like our fan base, apparently. Like, well, they're way into this, and we don't understand like that, and we don't like it.
What is the fascination with drawing dicks on everything? Because there is one. Is it just because it's silly?
It's simple and silly, I guess. Like,
how do you feel about being part of? How do you feel about being the 50% of the population whose genitalia is silly for everybody?
It kind of is. Like, I can't get around that. Like, like I think in that like really simple way where it's like physics are funny, like flapping, you know?
Sure.
Like the way it dangles around is silly. I'm pretty sure we had this conversation with Lauren. And
yeah, no, she said big floppy dicks are hilarious.
Yeah, because like it's just that's just kind of true. Like,
well, they're just kind of floppy,
inherently goofy to it in the way it you know, willies bounce around.
See, my big thing here is maybe it is a ploy for the radical feminist movement to make everybody unimpressed with male genitalia, because then they can take over. If nobody cares anymore about the dick, then maybe, you know.
Is there any way to like comically represent a vagina that's like funny?
Like, no, because it's terrifying if you do. Like,
but I swear there's like some weird Japanese like app or something that tried to do that. It's about kind of like health tips or something, but their character is actually not bad.
Okay.
Here, let me see if I can find it.
I mean, the funniest way I think you might be able to represent vaginas is just by what you call them. Like, clam. That's hilarious. That's a funny word to represent that. It's kind of disgusting, but, I mean, it's probably the funniest you can get. Otherwise, like, I've seen pictures of people, like, drawing teeth and shit on that, and that is terrifying. Like, holy shit. That is so...
Well, there's that whole movie about that very thing called Teeth that looked really upsetting.
I always kind of wanted to see it, but...
I've never have, though, yeah.
Being a guy, like, no. That's just so bad. Are you actually looking for this picture or whatever?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find it. I don't know what to... Currently, I just typed in Japanese vagina hygiene mascot.
Oh, God.
And I'm not seeing results. Well, I am. I'm seeing 1.6 million things, but... Oh, God. And then I just clicked on images, and there's a blobfish. So, this didn't work out the way I wanted it to. I know it's the thing, but
So is it almost like a badge of honor that we have the genitalia that people can find comical, but can get shit done if need be?
I don't know. Like dicks can get things done. That doesn't sound okay.
Not in the same way that like they can control like the world with theirs, like psychologically, but like you want that kid. Guess what, baby? I just heard Nathan mute his mic, so that's
No,
probably
sorry, I had to blow my nose.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just like going to Brittany and being like, "I'm so sorry."
No, she's not. She's off seeing the new Thor movie actually, which I just wasn't that interested in.
Yeah, okay. So a few people in the chat have been saying, have they talked about Thor yet? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I basically just chose not to see it. So, yeah, I don't something about like I mean Iron Man 3 was fine, but it was also just so generically entertaining. Like I'm kind of good. Like I don't expect anything especially interesting to happen in any Marvel movie now. Like it's just it's not going to say anything about anything. It's just going to be well made and entertaining in a very easy way. And I don't know. I'm good. I don't care. Like I don't like that. Okay, I guess specifically to Thor, like in Avengers, I found the Thor component, the part of the equation that didn't do it for me.
Oh, you
like,
mean the god?
Yeah, it's like, why is Loki here? Like, why is this movie acting like Loki's interesting? Why is Thor like this supernatural type thing? Like, yeah, I know it's just they're from a different dimension or something. They're from a different planet and it's advanced technology or whatever. It's just magic. It's just dumb shit put in here. Like the robot suit guy, that's fine. Dude with a big shield with a gun, all right. Mad scientist dude who's kind of basically Frankenstein, like or like Mr. Hyde, essentially is like Hulk. But the part of it that just doesn't do anything for me and kind of never has is, Norse god with hammer. It's just like that's just dumb. Like that like every time that's been presented to me, it's just kind of like, what? Like when that character was first presented to me, like in comic form, like when I was in junior high, I was just like, what? Thor is a Marvel character? That doesn't make sense. He's a Norse. Like that's what? And you're just like, yeah, they just borrowed this character from, mythology and made him a character. And you're just like, that's fucking lazy. That is bullshit. Stan Lee, what is that? Like, hey, I made up this cool new character. His name's Hercules. You can't pull that. You can't do that. Zeus, I just came up with him. He's really cool. He's got a beard and he throws lightning. What is that? Get out of here with that. That's old. Yeah. So doing that with Thor, it was just like, what is this shit? And that's kind of always been this disposition against Thor I have. So apologies to Chris Hemsworth and everyone involved, but
I honestly don't think Chris Hemsworth really cares what we say on here.
Your main character. I mean, he was fine as like,
No, dude, that guy is like, I have so much money, I don't even have to buy vagina anymore.
No, I don't even know if he enjoys being Thor though, because it's kind of this.
No, I don't think he does, honestly, either.
It's this ongoing contract where he has to stay in shape and kind of live a certain lifestyle as long as they're making movies. So.
That's rough. Getting paid to stay in shape.
Yeah, it's like you need to look like this all the time. And you're just like, well, I just kind of want to lie around and not do stuff. No, you can't. You're under contract. Marvel owns you, man. We made you. We can destroy you. Like that.
I've heard a lot of people say the reason. Sorry. Go ahead.
Like Andrew Garfield just wants to lie around and play video games, but he can't anymore because he needs to be he needs to be Spider-Man.
Sure.
So there's probably weekly visits by like the Marvel elite dudes that are just like, how was your routine this week? It's just like, yeah, I didn't go. And then they just, all sorts of shit comes down from that.
They just kill him, make a clone of him, and then keep going.
Well, no, they don't, but they keep kind of reminding him that they have his DNA on file.
Right.
We can pull the plug on you, motherfucker, if you don't get in shape.
Like, no, you don't understand. When you started this contract, we own you. You are no longer a person, you are a property.
I know you were looking at that number, like $1 million or whatever, but nah, man, you should have read the whole thing. But yeah, I don't know. Marvel's probably evil. Anyway,
I heard a lot of people talking about the reason they like Loki is because he's the only villain really in the Marvel universe who's good, which I can kind of see because like my thing with villains is that for me to find them compelling, they always have to think they're doing the good thing. Like they have to be kind of unaware of what's the word I'm looking for here. Like they shouldn't have the same like oh my
they're
god.
well-rounded, they're justified. Like they
justify things themselves. They rationalize things for themselves, and they think they're doing the good thing, and like maybe a tragic backstory or whatever. And Loki's whole thing is that like he was kind of the black sheep or whatever. He was outcast sort of thing, right? Mm-hmm. And he thinks that he should be doing this for his people or whatever, and then he just kind of goes really bad ways about doing it. So I could see maybe how people could make an argument. I just don't find Loki very cool, and I think those movies are predicated on this has to be cool looking and ridiculous because it's comic books.
Right. But like, yeah, some about I have this like horned helmet and like this big staff or whatever. Like, I'm just like, this is just goofy. Like, it just is. This is just really goofy right now. And like, yeah, there's talk of aliens and there's all sorts of explosions and whatever, but there's just this like strain of silly through this that isn't funny to me or cool. Like, it just kind of ends up in this dead zone of just like, I just don't like that. I just don't.
Well, I kind of like that he's like the great manipulator, right? But they don't play on that enough. Maybe.
Now, like, honestly, right now, since you've said like he's the only cool villain Marvel has, I've been kind of like doing an inventory of villains they have, and like other than some X-Men characters, there kind of isn't.
Like Magneto. Magneto is
I like Magneto.
Character.
Yeah, but like that stuff's all locked up with Fox, so it's not like they can cross-pollinate X-Men with this. So, and I mean, some Spider-Man villains I enjoy, but that's locked up over at Sony. So, yeah, I guess like the core stuff, like I don't know anything about Iron Man's antagonists. So,
well, like the Mandarin was like the big one, and he just
and the way they messed
a dude.
Yeah, the way they kind of messed around with that didn't bother me because I have no reverence for that character. But
sure,
I mean, yeah, like DC has that iconic like the Joker, and you're just like, oh well, yeah, and that's an easy card they can always pull, right? It's like we have that guy.
Well, I mean, most of Batman's villains are literally just psychopaths, so
yeah,
they can do what. So they're
yeah,
exactly, and that's good. That's fine.
But I also like Lex Luthor is polar opposite to Superman's ideals and whatever. Like he's okay. He's been okay in the past. But again, that's DC. Yeah, you go to Marvel, I don't know. Like Kingpin, no. Just no. It's not good.
Kingpin of crime?
Yeah. Like what is Hulk's? Like he got the Abomination. That wasn't great.
Was he? No, that was Superman was Brainiac.
The Leader.
Yeah. You know what? We should just move on maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly have very low interest in Thor right now. Like, a friend of mine really likes it, but he's a big Marvel fan, so that opinion doesn't swing me that much. It's just like, okay. I mean, I didn't like Avengers, and that's the one everyone loved, so I'll be okay. I think I'll be alright.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm going to sit this one out. And maybe without my 1275, they'll finally stop making them.
No, because there'll be that one person that sees it 4 times. So they canceled you out times 3.
With my dollars, Paul, I got to believe that by not supporting it, it'll go away. That's all I have.
I wish it worked that way. I really did. But Assassin's Creed wouldn't be a thing if it did.
And I guess technically on paper, we bought that game, so we're helping. It's got pirates in it, though, man. They did right. It's got guns. Look at all the guns this dude has on him on this cover.
You know what I'm excited about for that deal, where it's just like trade in whatever and you'll get a game, is that now when I go there will be used games for $10 and there'll be games I care about, maybe. That I never wanted to pay full price for.
But I guess some of the games we traded in, they'll probably be $10. So they probably added a bunch of variety to their used lineup. Like Sneak King. Actually, it got intercepted, but yeah.
Fucking Sean. The one game I wanted.
Actually, there was, like, we were kind of looking at it after, like, it might not have worked because there's no barcode on that game. So, with nothing to scan, they might not have actually been able to pull it off.
Well, they
So
could have
she went
just
back
thrown a
out.
sticker on it from their own label maker, probably.
Maybe, but who knows?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Do you want to hear my weird thing now?
Yes,
Or-
I do.
Okay. There's no good way to introduce this at this point. But like, yeah, there like the one angle I have is just extra controversial. But
That's how we do everything here. There's no good way that we transition into anything. I mean, just this last one, I'm just like, you know what won't be on Humble? Beyond Two Souls. Like, what the fuck is that?
all right, let's make fun of that segue hours later.
Yeah, I mean, all of our segues. You know what? A lot of people, I've listened to podcasts before, and they're like, "That was a pretty good segue," and like that's a crime. You can't comment on a segue.
Mm-hmm.
We never do comment on the segues anymore. We just kind of roll with it, and I think that's hilarious, even though they're all bad.
Okay. But this is just like darker subject matter, and I don't know how to properly articulate why my brain was in this area.
Is this NC-17 rated R's? We need adults
it's
here.
Kind of like being a little cavalier about murder. So it's a little weird. Okay, I guess just like here's a little like trivia question, or whatever. Hey, who is like generally considered to be the guy who killed John F. Kennedy?
Oh, Oswald, right?
Yeah. Who's the guy that shot John Lennon?
Oh fuck, what's his name? I do know. Oh, Chapman.
Yeah, Mark David Chapman.
Yeah.
Hey, do you happen to recall the guy who killed Sharon Tate, Roman Polanski's wife?
Not specifically, because it was a group of people working under the guise of being part of the Manson family.
Mansons. Yeah, the whole Manson thing, right? Like, those are killers, you remember their names, because they killed somebody famous.
But I don't know the main dude that, like, maybe drew first blood, as Rambo would say.
Fair enough. That last example is just one I'm trying to come with this as...
You're like, just roll with it. Jesus.
Just roll with it, man. Charles Manson, right? Everyone remembers that guy. Not that they should necessarily, but whatever. There you go. I guess I'm just like, at some point, if your goal, you're a crazy person. If your goal is to get notoriety, why would you kill anyone other than someone famous?
Sure, of course.
Why aren't there more high-profile assassinations / crazy murders in that field than there are of just like, oh, there was another school shooting this week? It's like, why would you do that? If you're going to go full tilt crazy, why would you, what are you doing?
I think they're trying to do it where they can still play off as insanity. Whereas, like, if you kill somebody that's beloved, people just kind of give you the death chair.
Okay, so they want to go crazy and kill people, but still make it out?
Like,
apparently?
maybe, and, I mean...
Manson is still alive, but he's in prison.
But he writes books and stuff.
And Chapman's still alive. Yeah, we have a biography of him in our true crime section. I guess also the true crime section is just a weird thing. It's basically just the exploitation section. It's just, real horrible things that happen to real people. Read about it now. Buy this book.
Right.
I don't know how to feel about that. But, okay, 9/11, right?
Yeah, that was a thing. That was a date. Yes.
That was the date. I guess specifically 9/11/2001. Okay?
Yes. September 11th, spawned some crappy movies, and more than anything, just kind of started a weird holy war where everyone hates Muslims.
And everyone's kind of just scared all the time.
Sure.
About just everything. But okay, I guess so in my mind, it's the terrorists wanted to kind of strike fear in the heart of America, right?
Well, they did it, yeah.
They did, but here's my kind of counterpoint. Why didn't they crash that plane into the Oscars while it was going on?
Or
the MTV Movie Awards.
What
or
the
something.
fuck is his name? The Baldwin residence or something.
Or actually do the thing that was in Some of All Fears and blow up the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Something the world is watching and it's something everyone's kind of into, and it's just like, oh fuck, like everyone loves, their favorite team or their favorite actor, so that would like ripple way harder than just some building in New York blew up, and you're just like, well, that's crazy, but I don't know anyone there, so that allows idiots like me to be kind of flip about it 12 years later because it kind of doesn't impact me that much, right?
Sure.
So why didn't they blow up the Oscars, man? When is somebody going to do that? Is it going to happen? Do you think it's going to happen? TV cameras are rolling. Suddenly, the whole theater starts shaking. It's like, what? Craziness. At the very least, why isn't that in the next Call of Duty game? Because like that's where this is going.
I don't really know how to respond, I guess. And
Okay.
It's not because of the subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because I don't really have a good answer, like why you wouldn't bomb the Oscars or whatever.
Like, is security too crazy?
Like compared to the World Trade Center?
Yeah, it's like
Probably
downtown.
not.
I mean, all of that stuff, we're in a different world now. Air security is totally different, right? Like, it wouldn't pan out the same way. But I don't know. Like, just their target selection is strange to me. Like, I guess if it's like number of lives you want to take down, if that's your goal, but it's like amount of cultural devastation and impact. We're like is kind of a cult, like a celebrity obsessed culture. If you attack that, you're going to kind of impact everybody.
Maybe,
right?
Is it possible maybe they viewed it as almost a monument for everything they hated because it dealt with the wealth of like consumerism and capitalism?
Maybe. But like, maybe it's just like revelations after the fact that it's just like middle America also hates that kind of, right? Like the greedy fat cats live on Wall Street, so blow up Wall Street. I don't know. Like part of the world won't care about that, right? Like it's just like Donald Trump. Like say like I'm not saying Donald Trump because a lot of people don't like Donald Trump. So
dude,
like,
I don't think many people would honestly care if terrorists like went after Donald Trump. They'd be like, that's kind of good.
That's why I'm saying he would be a bad target. Like you go after like America's sweetheart kind of thing, right?
Okay,
like,
so Sandra Bullock gets
it's like literally that's why I'm saying the Oscars. Like the Oscars blow up, everyone has someone they're upset about. Like it's not just like, oh man, like me here. I'm like, what a terrible way for Jack Nicholson to go out.
You know what? You might be right in this respect because I'm just thinking of like, what's his name? Like Ricky Gervais, like doing the speeches or whatever, the keynote or whatever he does.
Yeah.
Him dying would probably piss off British people too.
Yeah, like the world has some sort of stake in celebrity culture. Like it's kind of weird, but I'm just saying, like it's kind of like world's friend. Like it's like, oh, I saw that guy in a movie, and now I feel real bummed that this happened because like every time.
What brought this up?
Oh man, I'm trying to think. Like
just
what?
Being cranky pants.
Just being cranky pants. No, like well, I mean, like John Lennon specifically. I have a Time magazine kind of profile about him, and I like that dude. So I'm not saying like I wanted that to happen at all. It's just
Right.
like that had happened was so impactful, right? Like it's like, oh fuck, like it's that kind of thing. The shot heard around the world kind of thing. Like when you hear about someone high profile enough, it kind of ripples.
Okay,
like,
let me counter this for a second.
At our store, we have like Marilyn Monroe on our wall.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like, she was that person to some people, right? Like, when they heard she overdosed or everybody was like, oh my god, what? Like, Heath Ledger, all this stuff. Like, whenever a celebrity dies, like, it really hurts for a lot of people. So, if you want to, like, make maximum damage impact on an entire society, those are your golden calves, right?
What about, like, PewDiePie?
That would really impact some of the internet, yeah. Like, there was a kid in my iTech corner who was loading up PewDiePie videos on our Apple TV.
That's so weird. Okay.
He was waiting at PewDiePie, and it was like, okay, like, now I know this demographic, I guess. It's 12-year-old.
You should be preloading all those computers and TVs and stuff, by the way, with our site.
Just like, what's Pixel Response? It's an amazing website that updates every... Well, I mean, there's podcasts there all the time, but actual articles whenever it works out.
Kinda.
I keep thinking, like, man, I wrote, like, for a week there, and then it was just like, nope, I'm tired now.
Yeah,
so
it's hard.
that's just what. Yeah, maintaining a schedule of stuff to write about. No,
Especially when you have a life, like when
Yeah.
you're not getting paid to do it as your job.
right. I mean, I guess also thinking about like how much people talk about like when Steve Jobs died or whatever. Like it's just like those like again those people.
Yeah,
Like
fuck that guy.
like eventually when people who haven't had that kind of impact on people's lives die, like it kind of fades a bit, right?
Like Whitney Houston.
Well, I mean, Whitney Houston is a high-profile one for a lot of people, but like, I don't want to be dismissive about it because it's awful stuff that happened. But like the school shootings and stuff, like I don't remember the exact date of some of those because they didn't have the same kind of like personal significance, right?
Uh-huh.
Like what day was the Boston bombing? I don't remember anymore.
Wasn't it July?
Maybe that was the month. I don't know.
I don't know. When's the Boston Marathon? I mean, people that know when that date is obviously know.
Yeah.
I kind of
like-
don't care about the Boston Marathon, though.
Right. And
So,
like September 11th is just because it was such a huge thing that was made a deal about for after like forever, Like that's probably why that date is so resonant. Like in the UK though, that date is like July 7th, right? Wasn't there the train attacks?
Yeah, something.
Like in 04 or 05, like that was kind of their big like, oh fuck, this is something totally crazy that happened. But yeah, like I guess also it's the 50th anniversary of JFK's assassination, so like everyone's been talking about that. Like we just keep getting piles of books in about that, and it's just kind of like
Was that even the first time that a president was assassinated?
No, there was Garfield, I think.
Okay.
Like there was and Lincoln, obviously. Like
Sure.
150
Yeah.
years ago, but yeah, no, there were a couple more, but it was like pre-media blitz kind of, right? Like there would have been newspapers and stuff, obviously, but like come 1963, you actually have like footage of it, and there's a movie about that footage that came out this year. Like that's how much that death impacted people, right? They're still talking about it 50 years later. There's books about it, all sorts of stuff. So I don't know. I guess that's kind of why it was like, what would be the most awful thing that America, like the world, would remember forever? It would be like not just
Justin
any
Bieber.
crime. Yeah, like if you blew up the MTV Music Awards, it would be like, oh no, Daft Punk was there. Like that would be my thing.
If you took out the internet.
Well, the internet isn't a place though.
But if you took it out, that would be it.
Yeah. Like the YouTube convention or something.
What about like a whole bunch of strategically placed like EMP blasts or something?
Oh, well, like GoldenEye style, like just kind of pulse all technology and you lose the internet or whatever. Like, yeah, but it wouldn't. But the kind of memory of that would be destroyed because it's like that's how people would share that happened, right? It's by like the internet. I mean, like you wouldn't see the ripple of that information traveling the world because the information system is gone.
It would be chaos, though.
No, yeah, there'd definitely be like the legends of the day all the computers went down and everything changed. But yeah, that's its own kind of thing. I don't know. It was just a weird avenue my mind kind of went one time. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
There you go. Bad things that could happen.
And this is what you didn't want to talk about last week?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess so. I mean, it was probably like fresher then, so I was probably a little more angry about it or something.
I mean, the problem is I don't have a problem with the subject matter you're talking about. I just don't know how to respond because I kind of agree with you.
Well, I guess I'm also saying, like, why haven't I seen this in, like, supervillainy or something? Like, why hasn't the Joker blown up something like that? Or has he?
I don't know. Maybe just because he's insane, so he's very, like tunnel-visioned.
But, like, that part in GTA 5 where you detonate the phone while he's giving a keynote, I thought that was kind of genius. Because, like, that's so nutty. Like, that is something so crazy, but that's something you could pull off in how media saturated everything is. Like, you could, like, remember when that guy's head exploded on TV? It's like, oh, Jesus. Like, like, that could happen. Right?
Like, Steve Jobs is up there talking about the new iPad, and then all of a sudden, like, a piano falls on him or something.
Yeah, and it would just be like, what the hell? And that would be a GIF forever.
Yeah. Okay.
Forever.
I mean, it would be a GIF anyways because it'd be hilarious just having a piano fall on him. Because why?
Yeah.
What the hell? But
Hell. But yeah, no, I know. It would just be like that kind of meme culture, whatever. I don't even know. It was just like, that's what happens when I'm like just caught in like stand in this part of the store for 8 hours. Like I just start getting weird and angry about stuff, and that's eventually where it went. Like, yeah, man, supervillains. They should,
do you think you would make a good supervillain?
Too lazy, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
don't.
seems
I don't
like
have.
it would take a lot of work and like manipulating the right people at the right time to do the right thing.
Yeah, if you're gonna do some like long con type business, like, yeah, no, I don't think so. Nah.
Yeah, fuck that.
All right, so there you go.
Just grumble about video games.
Just grumble about video games some more. I don't know. Like I mean, whatever. Like, not to kind of bounce back to like the saddest topic that we've had for a while, but like, I mean, I keep listening to old Bombcast, and the Ryan Davis thing is still very tender in a way. And like for me, that is that person. Like July 3rd/8th is like those are the days now. Like it's like fuck John F. Kennedy. What did he ever do?
Kind of.
There's not hours and hours of stuff I care about out there about that dude. Like Cuban Missile Crisis, whatever. What is that? You know? Yeah.
Yeah. I
That
try
mad.
not to think about it.
Yeah. There you go. Nice note to bring us back to fallen podcasters.
Yeah.
But
Pour one out.
yeah, well, it's just, that internet thing where it's just like weekly content every week, daily content on Twitter, and then it stops. Like, it's just weird. Like, that's a new thing. You don't have to do the music. I'm just saying, like, it's still something where it's like, I am playing games that there was still coverage that he did of. It's just weird. It's like I'm playing games that they talked about. Now, Ghosts posts Ryan Davis. Whatever. Don't do that.
Are you gonna cry?
No, I'm not. I feel like I'm getting too
Melodramatic.
But it sucks. It blows.
It does suck. Actually, I try to not even remember he existed, to be completely honest with you. It's easier.
That would probably be better than what I'm doing, where I'm like, I'm going to revisit all these great old things, and now it's just like, oh god. But it's great Splunky background stuff, man. Those podcasts are funny. There's some good stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like the weird, oh, why isn't he on this new one? Oh, fuck. Burns again.
Yeah. I haven't revisited his last one before he went on like vacation or honeymoon or whatever. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be a hard one.
I've listened to that one a lot, and it's super weird because they talk about him dying, but in a comical way.
No,
like,
they don't.
Him getting crushed by an arcade machine is what they joke about.
Like on his honeymoon?
No, like just as a thing, like because he helped move an arcade machine that week.
Oh.
So it's like this weird thing where you hear him talking about like, saying goodbye to all his friends because he's trapped under an arcade machine. And it's just like, this is funny, but it isn't anymore at all. It's so weird. But yeah, let's lighten it up. Let's talk about Remembrance Day.
Yeah, so
what's the deal with Remembrance Day?
Wait.
Okay.
Maybe we should preface this in case everybody doesn't know.
Yeah.
So one day a year.
Yeah.
We remember those that have fought for us in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And we give them, what is it, 11 minutes of silence? Is it 11, 11?
Isn't it a minute of silence? I really don't
wow.
think anyone is silent for 11 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
like radio stations go silent for a little bit if they choose to and stuff. Yeah. I mean, Veterans Day is the same kind of concept in the States. I don't know, like, is the poppy thing Canadian, or does everyone do that?
I honestly have no idea. I think somebody will be able to tell us in the chat, but we should keep talking until then. But
Okay, but people wear red kind of fake poppies. There's this famous poem
In Flanders Fields, the pop
Yeah.
glow
about the gravestones and whatever.
between the crosses, row and row.
Yeah, so
That
it's kind of
marketplace and in the sky. You
Yeah.
don't remember it, do you?
No, I don't remember it at all. Like whatever, it's a poem.
The hark still, or the herald's hark still something. I can't remember. Whatever.
Okay. I guess thing is, like, it's been made like just this kind of annual thing that happens. Like, there's poems and people making tributes and all this stuff, and it's like never forget. Like, lest we forget.
It is literally hashtag never forget.
Yeah, let's keep remembering this. But I don't quite understand what the tone of that is, because it's just like, are we trying to stop wars, or are we still kind of stoked about them? Like, are we still like, yeah, our heroes go
Well,
out
see,
there,
this is a
fight,
weird thing,
fight.
is that I'm following a person who was just before, like, just a normal girl living in Seattle and, like, working at a thing and doing some freelance art or something every now and then, and her art was never really that good.
Okay.
And now she works for Wargaming, which is, like, World of Warplanes and that shit. World of Tanks. And on
Okay.
Remembrance Day, it's like, remember our veterans, tell us about your favorite tank. It's like, I don't think that's what you're supposed to do. I think that's kind of gross.
Yeah.
It's like, I think the reason why we try to remember Remembrance Day is that these people deserve some sort of respect, but also we should remember that this is fucked up shit, and we shouldn't be doing
Like,
this.
it's like, I view war and soldiers as like this weird tragic thing. Like, it's like there was this generation where a lot of people died and like lost everything because of this crazy thing that happened. And it's like, that's not, we're not supposed to remember that as like, man, yeah, that was awesome. I'm glad they went and took down the Kaiser or whatever. Like, it's just like, what? No, like, both sides, it was bad. Like, isn't this supposed to be a reminder of like man's worst tendencies, and we're not supposed to do this ever again?
Like, I
kinda
thought
thing.
it was supposed to be like, remember this person who died pointlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like the tone of it is now kind of like, and to our, those brave people out there in the field right now, it's just like, no, bring those people back. Stop doing that. Stop fighting.
Well, I mean, Call of Duty has always done the weird thing where it's like, lest we forget how to kick ass or something, and it's like they release Call of Duty on the Remembrance Day.
I mean,
That's
actually,
gross.
now I'm thinking through kind of Call of Duty stuff. Like, it is weird. Like, the earlier games definitely had like a weird thing where it would be like you die and then a quote about war comes up, and it's
And
like
it made no sense.
heavy and philosophical about it, but it's just like, what the like, it seemed weird because it's like, no, the tone of this is go shoot the guys and have fun, but the subject matter is serious and they can't deny that.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird balance of like, this is at the same time like completely irreverent and disrespectful that this even exists. Like,
Yeah.
people called it a grandpa murder simulator or whatever, right? Because like,
Sure.
it's like, this is a real generation. Like, this is a real thing that happened. These are real people, kind of, and it is all being kind of made light of in this game. But then the tone of the game would kind of try to compensate, so it has like really, somber music and like those quotes, and kind of contextualize it with some footage or whatever. Like, I think Medal of Honor, Allied Assault had like actual historical footage in it sometimes, and they'd kind of try to be a little grave about it. But at its core, it's still being really kind of light about it, right? Like, do you remember? Okay, there was supposed to be at some point Gearbox announced a Brothers in Arms game that was like totally ridiculous,
Yeah.
and it went away, right? Like, it's kind of trying to do that Inglourious Bastards thing, but it was like in a series that had up to that point been really reverential in a way. Like, they would recreate kind of in a what's that show? Band of Brothers. Like, it was kind of trying to be the video game equivalent of that. Like, they would have interviews with the actual guys. They would recreate the campaigns and stuff based on a lot of documentation or whatever, and try to recreate exactly how this thing went. So there was like them trying to be authentic, and then this new game looked to be just like completely like totally disrespectful of all of that, like just like treating it like a cartoon. And it was probably very, very justifiably canceled. Like, that thing has not shown its head in a while, and I think that's probably for the best. But not because I don't like Inglourious Bastards in a way, but Inglourious Bastards is also like kind of a cop out. Like, it's such a cheap thing to do with World War II.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, this didn't happen, but I wish it did. But I'm gonna kind of play it as though it did. And it's like you kind of shouldn't do that. Like, you can. That is your creative freedom, and you're allowed to do that. And I'm not gonna, try to censor you or anything, Quentin Tarantino. But isn't this the most childish thing you could possibly do? In a way, like, we killed Hitler. It's like, that doesn't help anybody. Like, no one killed Hitler, and he killed like millions of people. Like,
Right.
What is this doing? What does this contribute, really? But I don't know. Like, Remembrance Day seems to have kind of like stalled at World War II from my perspective. Like, I never see anyone talk about like Vietnam or Iraq or like anything contemporary. It always seems to be like so focused on the distant past, and that seems to be kind of like the least interesting way to approach it. Like, it's just like, well, yeah, World War II is pretty fucked up, but you know what was also fucked up? What happened in Palestine yesterday? Like, no one seems to be kind of like actually applying this attitude about bad things having happened to current events.
Huh.
And it's weird. Like, it's just like, yeah, Afghanistan is pretty fucked up too. Like, what do you want? Like,
Actually, yeah, you're right, because the Remembrance Day thing, like, it's kind of weird that people keep remembering about the people that had to fight against Nazi tyranny, trying to, like, eradicate a full group of people.
yeah,
But, like, they're not remembering that time there was a problem in Vietnam, and they decided to send troops to their death because it might make sense politically.
mm-hmm.
Like
there was all
the
sorts
gross
of
shit they don't remember.
Yeah, 'cause, like, it's less black and white, right? Like, World War II still stands as, like, a pretty good example of, like, you could almost simplify it to good versus evil. That's a very reductive way of looking at it. But one side was committing, like, gross genocide, and the other side was kind of periodically committing war crimes, but...
Well, like, are we supposed to be remembering also the Nazi soldiers who died in the line of duty, even though, like, they didn't believe in it? They just knew they would be killed if they didn't fight for this side?
Like, I mean, that's kind of been an ongoing question from me, because, like, my family has German heritage, so some of
So
my
you're
relatives,
Nazi.
well, some of my relatives were forced into military service after
Yeah.
Poland was taken. So it's like, well, they were living in Poland at the time and ended up being in, like, German regulars, but they weren't, elected, like, they didn't vote Nazi party or anything. They were just part of this crappy thing that happened, like this really troubled chapter of history. Like, it seems kind of weird. Like, there's this like celebration of the one side, like the Allied forces or whatever, but then it's like, well, a lot of other people died too, and a lot of them weren't evil. They were just in a really shitty situation. Like, there's like the pilots that bombed Dresden, like, we're remembering them too, and they did some shitty stuff in the Allied forces.
Or dropping the bomb on Nagasaki.
Yeah, like, bad stuff went down on both sides. Like, and I guess I just don't hear a lot about, like, Japan in general. Like, does Japan remember this stuff? Like, is there any kind of remembering of that? Like, it's such a Canadianized event. Like, from here, I don't really see much said about, like, the world stage.
Well, because they have Veterans Day in the States.
Yeah. But, like, should this also be a day where we kind of revisit the topic of, remember when we interned the Japanese? That was shitty. Shouldn't have done that. Lest we forget. Like, why isn't that a lest we forget kind of thing, too? I don't know. It just seems to be like, remember that time we fought the bad guys and the brave people we sent over there to fight the bad guys. And it's like, that's not exactly what this is, I don't think. But I don't know. So I've kind of just taken to being weirdly skeptical as to what Remembrance Day is for anymore, or what people are doing with it. So I don't wear a puppy anymore, I guess, is part of the thing. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just... it's one of those things where it's just like, this has been oversimplified to the point where I'm not even sure I agree with what is happening anymore. But if I were to kind of try to explain it, it might be like, you're Nazi or something. and then that's no.
Well,
good.
you are kind of a Nazi for many reasons, but
many reasons. I mean, I have that record of Hitler's war marches. So.
Well, I was gonna say like the oven.
I have an oven.
You have the oven. You have an oven for pizzas, but you also have the oven in the corner that you use on certain people.
That's not true. What are you talking about?
All I'm saying is that if I'm ever stuck like sleeping at your place, probably not going to take a shower the next day, just in case.
This is horrible. Like, I'm okay with like engendering this weird reputation of like kind of being way into porn, but that's acceptable. Like,
I love how you're just like, I'm kind of okay with this weird reputation of porn, but this is too far.
This is too far. I am not a fan of murdering people with gas or whatever. That's
of course.
crazy. That's too much.
It's too far.
Source filmmaker though. Thumbs up.
And let's go on to questions.
Go on to questions.
Okay, so we actually got an email one. From,
like a question.
Yeah, from Mario64 Mario. Question for Nathan. Are you interested in visual novel games? There's one called Danganronpa, I probably said that wrong, coming to PS Vita on February 11th, and it's probably one of the few titles that would convince me to buy a Vita. The game is like Phoenix Wright mixed with 999 mixed with Persona.
I've liked Phoenix Wright games. I've been curious about 999 for a while, and I like that Persona 4. So conceivably, I don't know, like visual novels. Like Ghost Trick was a prime example for me. I really did enjoy that. Although gameplay wise, it's like a pretty, I was just complaining about scripting. I guess maybe the difference is like that is pretty explicit about it. Like you kind of enter with the expectation that I'm kind of just reading a book right now, but it's going to kind of involve me a bit, address me sort of, and that's kind of cool. So.
Would this be like Hotel Dusk as well?
Yeah, I found Hotel Dusk kind of frustrating in an adventure game type way, though, where the puzzle solving felt really... like, the logic was weird, and I just got stuck. So, as long as the game kind of just plays fair or whatever, I am generally intrigued by that. So, is this being translated for here, though? Like, that sounds like a very Japanese title.
I'm assuming so.
Okay. But yeah, I really just want to play 999. I've heard that does some interesting stuff with its death mechanics. Like you're replaying it a lot and kind of seeing different ways the story can branch, but that's actually part of the game. So like in the way I would replay Indigo Prophecy and then be frustrated that it's like kind of forcing me down a path, this would be like, no, there is a branching path and we know that you did a different thing this time and that's actually somehow addressed and I don't know how they do it. But that sounds interesting to me, that like the game's kind of rewarding that curiosity. So I've been meaning to play that game for a while. I just haven't gone and picked one up yet. Like or ordered it off Amazon really, because it's not readily like, it'll be like that thing where like I'm in a store and I'll kind of look for it, but I'm not expecting to find it and I never do. So I would buy it if it was there, but it isn't. So I need to kind of make an effort now. But yeah. No, that's interesting. I might well play that at some point. Although, I find once I've played one of those, I can't play another one for a while. Like, I went on kind of a Phoenix Wright tear after Ghost Trick and burned out partway through a game because they're so similar. Like, it's just, at some point you want a mechanical thing again. Like, you want something you can actually mess around with. So, yeah. How about you? Do you like visual novels or not?
I liked
really?
Hotel Dusk.
Did you finish it, or did you like it?
No, I liked the parts I was playing of it, then I just kind of stopped, and now I'd have to replay it to know what I'm doing.
Yeah, like I have Trace Memory, which was the same people, I think. And I've heard it's really short, like 2-3 hours, but I haven't messed with that either. Oh, I guess, I know no one's asked, but like Pokemon Update, I don't know where my copy is. I was looking all over for it.
I love how you're trying to get ahead of it now.
Well, no, I know, because like I'm looking at my DS, and I was like, oh yeah, that's why I was thinking about that this week, because I went through all of our, like, we have this big box full of DS games, and there is the Heart Gold, like, outer box, but in there was nothing. So I started searching through, like, our storage room, and I think if it's anywhere, it's probably in there, but I don't know. So And then I guess I found out in that terrible way where it's like, well, whatever, it's an old Pokemon game. That's probably cheap, right? It's like $100.
Oh man.
They just go up. I forgot that happened, but like Emerald went up in price, right? Like it's just, oh, it's rare now. This is the last gen one, but kids still want to play it because then they can import forward. So there's like new diehards who want all of them.
Yeah,
and
right.
There's like always a market for old Pokemon games, so it never hits that kind of bargain basement price. So replacing it is kind of out of the question for me. So at this point, it's either find Heart Gold eventually, hopefully, or maybe I'll just go with the new one at some point. I don't know. I might have to scrap my Murphy plans, but
Murphy hype.
Yeah, I'll just name a new Sentret after him or something.
Or as Mario 64 Mario's been using hashtag Murphy's Law.
Yeah, I've been seeing a variety of Murphy hashtags, which I guess also makes you be like, oh, that's great, but also now I feel extra guilty for not having, gone and seen what that.
Because you're engaging with the community, but
yeah,
you can't engage fully.
Yeah, well, I keep telling them like I'm going to play Pokemon as soon as I find it, and now I've tried to find it and I don't know what's going on. It has slipped away.
People are saying they will trade you a Murphy.
Okay.
So there you go. Maybe you might need to get X or Y. Then you could.
Yeah,
trade.
Exactly. That's when I'm like, that's my next resort, I guess, is like see the new hotness as opposed to going back, which means I can't do my Pokewalker stuff, which sucks. But I'd also need to get new batteries for that thing at this point. So anyway, what's next?
I have another email here. It's not a question. It's just an email, and they say it's not really meant for the podcast or whatever. But I'm going to read it anyways, because why not? It's from Tessa. I won't go into any more detail than that. They just gave their first name anyway. Mm-hmm. Hi there. Just listened to your most recent episode of the podcast today at work, and you guys absolutely slayed me. If I hadn't been in the warehouse today, the girls in the office would have definitely told me to keep it down. Anyways, you guys spoke of furries for a while and had an amazing discussion. I was a freelance artist for a couple years while I was a tattoo artist, and after the shop I work at closed, and while I didn't necessarily relate to the fandom, I found that all the money was had to be drawing furry porn for the folks on Fur Affinity. It wasn't the most illustrious job I've ever held, but it was the best paying. I made an average of $20,000 a year after I had gained a decent following on the site. And before you ask, I didn't report a single cent of my earnings. Nice. Paul, you seem pretty interested in the fucked up side of things. If you want to hear any stories, I got plenty. Being an artist puts you in a fair amount of contact with your customers, and I've had conversations at length with these people, and some being ridiculous and frightening perverts, and some being normal people with normal sex lives and normal interests. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't that my own two hands created the images that sometimes made me uncomfortable, I had to buddy up with some grade A internet scum so that I could make a few bucks and avoid spending the weekend sober. And that's why they're like, anywho, this wasn't really meant for the podcast or whatever, but I just found that funny.
Is it Fur Affinity?
Fur Affinity, yeah.
Okay, I thought you said Fur Infinity, and I was like, what? But
no.
Okay.
No,
yeah, that makes more sense.
And then she also is like, I link my gallery, but I'm sort of ashamed of it. Also, you won't be able to see any of the stuff because you need to log in to view it.
You got to be a member?
You got to be a member.
You got to be down.
Yeah, in Fur Affinity. So maybe I will go ahead and make an account there and see her gallery.
Okay.
But anyways, there is all the money to be made.
Yeah.
So I don't.
So PSA, if you're comfortable drawing like weird anthro fox people, there's a market.
I would love to hear what she has to say. She has an open invite anytime, as far as I'm concerned. Or like voicemail or something. Like, I would love to hear. I always love it when people are like, I had to work with certain people for like my weird freelancing job, and I can relate some stories. Because that's a world I will never understand or know, and it would be hilarious to get some insight into it from a person that had to work like from the outside with them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
like if they have a unique window into this world. I don't know. I guess as long as we have the right tone about it, like we're not, trying to make a quick buck off of furries.
I'm not making a buck off of any of it.
Yeah, it's just genuine curiosity.
It is genuine curiosity. I wouldn't have even brought it up if I wasn't curious, like at all.
Okay, fur curious.
Oh. That's gonna spawn something. Thanks. You're like I gotta give it back.
What? I'm just.
It's true. You do take a lot of shit, and people are making up stuff about you. So there you go. I guess.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So we'll start off with the Meowth Hour, and we'll start off with her first message.
It's an hour? Oh,
no.
Jeez, Phoenix, I haven't even said my question yet. Anyways, hey Paul, hey Nathan. I've been doing some shopping because I noticed that Wii U actually has games. So, I don't know which one to get. I mean, I know only the black Wii U is out now. So, I've been thinking of trying to acquire one of those. But at the same time, I kind of want a Wii U with the game with it. Sort of like the Wii back when it got the Mario games with it. I kind of want that with the Wii U so that way I can have something to play while waiting for more games to come out. I was thinking of getting the Zelda Wind Waker HD Wii U, but I know this is quite expensive. So, what would be your recommendation for Wii U purchases? Should I just wait until something goes on sale? Or just get a Wii U Zelda Wind Waker Wii U? Jeez, Nintendo needs to work on console names. Ugh.
Yeah, the Wind Waker. Well, is it just called Wind Waker Wii U HD Edition or something? Like, does it have some convoluted thing?
Probably.
Anyway,
I'll let you answer this more like succinctly because you actually have a Wii U. I'm gonna say though, like Black Friday, maybe just get one that you can afford and you think is enough space or whatever on Black Friday for cheap.
I mean, if you're willing to battle the hordes on that front, I'd assume actually, yeah, there'd probably be retailer bundles with like the new Mario game or something, but they might be still charging quite a premium for that. I don't know. But I mean, that Wind Waker bundle was honestly what I was thinking during the while the question was described, because that's kind of the only game bundle I can think of. Like, is Nintendo Land just not part of it anymore?
I don't know at all, actually.
Okay.
I guess I just looked up Wii U bundle. There's a Zombie U one.
Yeah.
There's the Zelda one that we were talking about. There is a Mario and Luigi premium one, and it looks like it's probably 2 games in here. I'll click on it and see what it actually is. It's the excuse me. It's the 32 gig one. It looks like it comes with New Super Mario Brothers U and New Super Luigi U. What?
Yeah, which is kind of a DLC.
Oh, okay.
But it's got its own levels and whatever, or pack of stuff. I don't know. Like, I guess it's kind of on the verge of like really cool stuff coming out, like specifically New Super Mario 3D World. And I mean Pikmin, if you're kind of interested in that, that's already out, but it's still a little dry. Like, honestly, Ghost was the first time I booted it up in a while, and that's just because I had it on there. I would definitely not recommend, I gotta get that Call of Duty Ghost on my Wii U. Like, that version of it is not especially remarkable. Like, yeah, they don't do anything with the touchscreen, really. Like, having the objectives there is, I guess, easier than pausing to see them, but it's still just kind of trivial.
If you wanted the Wind Waker HD, I would say go with that bundle because it also comes with Hyrule Historia, which is great, and that's like $50 by itself almost.
Well, it's on sale pretty routinely, though. I think I paid like $20 or something, but
it is worth if it's free, though, that's cool, awesome.
If you're a Zelda fan, yeah, it's a cool thing to get. It is, I guess, that is quite a bit, but that's kind of just how much the Wii U is going to be, between $250 and $300, and that is a quality game to get with it. So if you look at that as kind of a deduction, then it's like what, $250, which is pretty fair. And yeah, I wouldn't expect it to be much cheaper than that going forward.
Like I said, Black Friday, you could probably find it for $200.
What about secondhand? Do you think like checking, Craigslist or something? Like, would there be people getting tired of the Wii U?
Probably not. And the reason I say that is because it's still hard for me to find GameCube stuff, like peripherals and stuff, because people hold on to Nintendo shit for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, like, you could find Wiis now because people upgraded from the Wii to the Wii U.
And it does have backwards compatible and all that.
But the Wii U is, like, the new one, right? So,
right. So
the kids that have it still have it. Their parents still buy them games for it or let them buy from the virtual shop or whatever.
Yeah.
So, probably not.
I mean, it's about getting to that point where I think I definitely don't feel bad owning one. Like, there's Nintendo games I really like. I mean, although my, like, nostalgia fires have been stoked up quite a bit lately because I've been reading this book about the history of Nintendo.
Yeah.
And it's kind of great just seeing, like, you know, this story that I kind of know a lot of get filled in. Like, a lot of the details getting filled in as to, like, the timeline and what came out when and whatever. And also just the, revelation that Miyamoto made this game called Devil World that never came out here.
Okay.
And I just didn't know that was a thing until I read this book. And I was like, oh man, this is really cool.
I haven't heard of it before.
Yeah, it had too much religious, like, symbols in it to come out here. Like, it was just too controversial. It came out in the UK, but...
Well, I know Nintendo has a problem with releasing stuff in the West with, like, any religious symbols at all.
Yeah, so it's like, I guess kind of a Pac-Man style game, but the maze is being manipulated by enemies as you're playing in it. But then, like, there's, like, crosses and stuff, and it was just like, this is a little weird, Nintendo. I don't think we can have this here. Like, Nintendo of America was a little skittish about it. So that was, like, one of the fun facts I picked up reading this book. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of, like, a bit stupid for Nintendo. Like, I grew up in it, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm kind of, like, you know, fan for life on some of that stuff. Like, my curiosity will eventually get the best of me, and I'll try out all of this stuff.
Sure.
So I might not be the best test case, but if you're in a similar camp and you're like, man, I love that Zelda, like, yeah, man, get that thing. Like, it's going to be great. There's going to be stuff on it eventually that'll be great. And some of it might be soon. And, I mean, as of right now, though, I guess I will still say, like, none of the things we own is, like, that great of an experience that you need to have one. Like, Zombie U is kind of cool, but not worth a system purchase. Like, from what I've heard, the Wind Waker HD is great, but it's also that game again. So if you played it before,
like,
okay,
I don't know how old Meowth actually is,
mm-hmm.
but, like, if she was too young, maybe, to actually get that game when it was out and, like, try it out or whatever. Like, well, it's a version of it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's better or not. Like, if you haven't played it or you played it on an emulator and liked it or played it at a friend's house and you don't own it and you like it, why not, right?
Right. I guess also I've been watching that Smash Brothers documentary, just since we're talking about Nintendo. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking on Costco right now, the site.
Yeah. Yeah.
And $360 for that bundle seems like way too much.
Oh, weird. For the Wind Waker bundle?
Yeah, from Costco. That's weird, right? They're usually cheap.
That sounds wrong. I thought it was $300.
It's
like,
$359.99 for Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker Wii U bundle.
Did they throw in an extra game or something?
No.
That seems crazy to me. Like,
I have one of these Costco bundles where it's just like, no, it's actually just a console and you can take these two games off our shelf sort of thing. That's for New Super Mario Brothers and Nintendo Land, and that's $400.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. $360 is way too much because I know that's on Amazon for way cheaper.
Yeah, like, let me just, I don't know, I'm checking Walmart.com, or .ca rather, just to see kind of like another comparison point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $2.99.
I guess the most important thing we should mention, though, is that if you buy from Amazon, go to pixel-response.com/support-us first.
Yep.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, you're not going to get a discount, but you'll give us money for nothing. I wish we had
something
like
you were going to do anyway, yeah.
Exactly. I wish we had a partnership where we could like actually give promotion deals or something. Mm-hmm. That'd be good. But we can't. So, next question.
Paul, Nathan, I just finished watching your hilarious 1 a.m. drunk cast. Or drunken podcast, whatever it's called. And I thought it was quite hilarious how he kept bouncing from where the girl from Family Matters went to furry people. And I had to ask, will the drunk cast be an actual thing? Maybe like a monthly thing? Because I don't think Paul should turn into an alcoholic. I think I asked Paul about this on Twitter, but it's because he's the guy that actually answers the questions when I ask.
Oh man, every single one there's some shots fired.
Yeah, I don't check Twitter as much as I used to.
No, because you get mad, unnecessarily mad.
Well, yeah, and it's so dumb because at some point it's like, well, I set up this echo chamber myself, so I should just fix it. But I also feel bad like not following people who are following me. You know?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know what to do. Like, so, yeah, whatever. Point, like, back to the question, I guess. Yeah, so they're encouraging us to drink more.
Okay, so here's
if
how
it's spaced out from work enough.
Here's how it goes, is that the reason why we do those, and, like, we don't consciously plan on it, is really because it helps me wind down after a week of work. So, like, on a night like tonight, there was no fucking way because I have to go to work tomorrow. But, like, if we do it early on a Sunday, like, if we do it early in the week, I mean, like, on a Sunday because neither one of us has work Monday or Tuesday or something, then yeah, of course. I mean, it's a way to just kind of chill out, have a few drinks, and then see what the fuck happens, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But
lighten up a bit so it doesn't get heavy like it did earlier.
And, yeah, kind of.
Yep, maybe.
But, I don't know, maybe, like, not more necessarily, but random guests could help that too. Like, if we're just, it just helps ease things up a bit. It's not going to be like a regular thing, but it's also not going to be like a monthly, like, specific, we're going to do this once a month sort of thing. It'll just happen whenever.
Yeah, when it works out, it'll happen. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Life finds a way.
Exactly.
Okay, so last question. Here we go.
This question is for both of you. And since Albus keeps mentioning that funny fanfic of you two, and Paul said he was going to read it, so hypothetically, if you two are in like a relationship, which one would be the man and which one would be the woman?
What do you mean hypothetically?
Yeah, well, yeah, I have not seen this fan fiction. I didn't know it existed.
No, I mean, what do you mean hypothetically we are? You know.
Well, like playing like Silent Hill, those were good times.
It's kind of abusive relationship, but
I mean, did you make that lasagna? Because it was good. But...
I didn't. I wish I did. But
okay.
Thank you, I guess.
I don't know.
This got weird.
Yeah, which gender role do you see yourself filling if we were a couple?
Male, the man.
Okay, I'll just allow that. That's fine.
See, and that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, fine.
Oh, man. Again, life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
I don't know. Like, do you disagree? Or do you agree? Like, is this too weird?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure, like, you know, gender roles or whatever you make them, man, now. So that'll
If I were you, I would want to be the wife.
Okay.
Because then you could be, like, sitting at home all day and, like, watching the kid.
Sure. Yeah, and, like, you know, vacuuming and doing the dishes or something. Like, traditional gender roles.
Yeah. That's what we're going for, I think.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the way it was back in the 50s, according to TV. So
it's probably right, I guess.
Maybe. Self-fulfilling prophecy or something. But, okay, yeah, I guess since I have, like, a passive attitude about it. Sure.
And yes, if that fanfic actually gets written or whatever, I will read it on here.
Okay.
Actually, maybe we'll split it up if there's dialogue. We'll do it live.
Like it's like a play. There's like
yeah.
roles. Okay.
I'll find like the sound of a door closing and stuff. We'll do like
a little radio play out of it.
Yeah, theater of the mind, if you will.
We'll do like fake footsteps, like I'll hit my desk or something. Like I don't know.
You don't have a desk around to do it, do you?
Well, I have this table, which is what
okay.
I meant, but yeah, it's not picking up. I'm just hitting it, and it's hurting my hand.
All right. Well,
Yep.
I think that's it for questions. That is it for questions. So let's get a little jazzy and find out how you can do that too.
Okay.
Got a question or comment for the show? You can email us at podcast@pixelresponse.com or leave a voicemail using the voicemail feature on the right side of the main page. On Twitter, you can reach Nathan at Krasnor and Paul at Exposure. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/thepixelresponse and visit pixelresponse.com for more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Smash Brothers.
yeah.
Final
What?
topic. I don't know. I just kind of felt it was noteworthy enough. We've watched the first 3 episodes of the Smash Brothers.
I don't know what this is.
Oh, some enterprising people have decided to chronicle the history of competitive Smash Brothers,
Okay.
and they've released all 9 parts of it, I guess, on YouTube. And it's it's a talking heads, pretty straightforward documentary. Like, it's just interviews with people, but kind of intercut and with music and some gameplay footage or whatever. But because it's something I find interesting, I'm more than happy to listen to it. It's pretty slick for what it is, So it's dating back to 2003, 2002, around there, when competitive Smash started happening. It's creating this timeline and kind of setting up just all this stuff I had no idea was happening. The names of all these great Smash players, East versus West, all this stuff. It's pretty cool. It's kind of reminding me of King of Kong in a way.
Okay.
People who take gaming very seriously, and sometimes that's kind of funny, but sometimes it's yeah, no, I totally get that, and that's cool. And yeah, it's a low budget thing, but it's pretty cool.
That's like that free to play movie that's gonna come out soon about Dota professional players.
Yeah, I guess
that'll be interesting.
So if you're at all interested in the game at hand, it's kind of I've enjoyed me some Smash Brothers, but I had no idea how seriously some people take it. So it's kind of weird to see that, but it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, Game Dudes.
Yeah, Game Dudes.
It's a thing
Silent
now.
Hill. We will get better at saying what the name of our thing is during it in subsequent recordings, but
and
at the time we just jumped
mic
in.
positioning or different mics.
Oh yeah, was it that bad?
No, not overly, but there were a lot of you mumble sometimes.
Oh, okay.
You go quiet randomly, and the problem is the quiet parts, which I can hear perfectly fine when I'm with you, are some of the funnier parts.
Oh, and they're kind of indiscernible in the recording?
A little bit, sometimes.
So it's just mumble, and then Paul chuckles, and it's what was that?
Kinda. But okay. I mean, it's still audible, it's just harder to hear, and then I blow it out with the laughing.
Okay.
So, better mix will probably...
So we're figuring that out.
We're working on it, but Silent Hill is the first official one. There is another 2 Spelunky videos. I just haven't released them yet. I think that might be a Friday fun time sort of thing, where it's just hey, 2 on Friday, because we can.
Dude, Spelunky, I actually beat, on one of the daily challenges, I went through the whole game. I was in the top 40 one day. I felt real good about that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, son.
Thanks. I made it to World 4 today. I felt pretty good about that, too. I had a jetpack.
You get so angry in that video.
Yeah. No, Spelunky's intense. I love it, though. I'm not
it again?
angry. I'm just having a good time.
Did you watch it?
No, I haven't.
Okay. There's just one part where I'm obviously just trying to piss you off because you're don't pick it up, and then you're you fucking cunt or something.
Oh, when you pick up the statue. Yeah.
You were so mad.
Yeah. That's just not what you do. But okay.
But anyways, that's kind of a separate thing. That has its own channel, and that's not really affiliated with the site. Maybe it should be more.
Game Dudes?
Yeah,
Game Dudes is part of the site.
Yeah, but it's not on the site. It's kind of on its own channel because I'm still just trying to get set up with it.
We haven't figured out what to do with it yet. But turns out there's a lot of video games we want to play, so making video content out of it's probably a good idea.
Yeah,
So.
and I mean, it's easy. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and say it's really easy to do, because we just got together, played video games, and timed out every now and then, just saying we'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I know how to cut, where to cut. That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should make a clapping sound. So it's like, we'll be back, clap, and then like when I see the spike, that's where I cut. It would make it easier for me, but like, I don't know. It's been fun, I think.
We're working on it. We're figuring out. Hopefully people enjoy it.
We started releasing it at a real bad time.
Why?
YouTube did the whole Google Plus thing, so people can't comment easily now unless they make an account.
I know. I finally saw kind of a summary of all the changes yesterday, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't notice how weird it was, but yeah, that's really strange.
Yeah.
It's like, the one thing I did notice that I just found, like, what is this? Like, whenever I would watch a video, the number of subscribers on that channel would just, like, appear in the middle of the screen. And
I haven't seen... Oh, you're right. In the top.
And it's just like, what? Okay. Like, I don't need to know that. Why isn't it going away? And like, I'll have to, like, click near it, and it'll go away. But it's just like, it's not an ad or anything. Like, what is that for? I raise my arms in a skeptical way and just kind of go, huh? What? Why do I need to know that? Like, that seems like something the person who owns the channel might want to know.
Yeah.
But
it's something they can't fix, so I'm sure it's a Google problem.
Maybe. I don't know. There's definitely been a lot of weird changes in the past little while. And yeah, Google Plus, man, I thought it was dead. I thought they were content in knowing no one would ever care as much as they wanted them to.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, taking other sites in the Google ownership circle that people like and trying to kind of like side load that in there. Like, it's just like,
well, now when like bigger YouTubers are doing weird things like just disabling comments, it's like, who's that hurting? That's not hurting anyone. So whatever. I guess. I mean, somebody made a video about this. It's like, you really want to piss off Google and YouTube? Take off monetization. It's like, they will no longer be able to run ads on your stuff that like 1 million people are seeing. They're going to be pissed.
Right, so that's the way to kind of like say, you fucked up, and like turn that off.
But then, of course, the problem is, but then I don't get paid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if like a lot of people wouldn't be willing to do that, but okay.
All it would take is maybe like PewDiePie to do that, and then they'd be like, okay, we got to reevaluate maybe, because we're literally losing like a $1 million contract right now.
Yeah, this is all on you, PewDiePie. You can fix this.
I don't know. He's just content on screaming or whatever. Indie Talks is back.
Okay.
Bi-weekly or bi-monthly, not weekly, I guess. Bi-monthly, twice or once every 2 weeks. Talk with Kyle Pulver was the last one.
Okay.
So, if you remember that at all,
it was a while ago. But
it was a long time ago.
Offspring Fling, we probably talked about, and I think Valve games
and Snapshot
and Indie Houses.
We talked about Indie House.
Yeah. So there's some recollections from that. Finding time for those is its own unique problem, but
that is going to be even more problematic because when we were doing it, I was doing a normal Monday to Friday 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I would be home every night by about 5:36.
And now it's like,
and you were going to school, so there would be days where you would just have nothing to do.
Yeah. Whereas now my work schedule is all kind of up in the air, but it's typically 5 days a week, so there's a lot of times that don't work. Yeah,
so that's going to be interesting, but we have some interesting people planned for it. We just gotta. There's still good stuff in the hopper for it. That's why it's released. I mean, we won't release it without a couple weeks worth of stuff, right?
Okay.
That would be ridiculous, to say the least.
And maybe, like, hey, if we're totally out of guests at some point, we'll just be like, we're going to talk about indie games this week, Paul and Nathan. And just be like, this one's terrible. It's really bad.
So we just become the Angry Video Game Nerd and podcast?
But for indie games.
We just call it a shitload of fuck?
No. Probably be longer-winded about it.
Yeah.
Kind of how we go.
And how we will always go, including next time.
you remember that part in the core where the space shuttle crashes?
No.